Welcome to The Backlash, a weekly exploration of America's awakening. I am your host, Rebecca Hargraves, joined as always by Mr. Dave Riley.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing tonight?
I'm in a great mood today. How are you doing, Cameron? Cameron McGregor.
I'm doing sprightly. How are you guys?
Sprightly.
Pretty good. We'll talk about it in a second. After I tell you where to find us, you can find us on X at Real Backlash, our website, thebacklash.net. Support us on subscribestar.com/thebacklash, patreon.com/thebacklash. Send your super chats that will be read live at the end of our show to thebacklash.net/super chat right here on my YouTube channel, over on our YouTube channel at Real Backlash. Follow us there. Follow us on Rumble. That is Backlash Podcast. Find all of our links. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. Find all of our links on thebacklash.net/subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us today. A big thanks to our sponsors, Above Time Coffee Roasters. That is small batch, delicious coffee that I can't be drinking right now because it's 3 p.m.
Yeah, I'm a little amped up already.
I'm a little tweaked out. I had a lot of caffeine today. Idaho Tallow, that is skincare without endocrine disruptors. And Antelope Hill, publishers of white positive literature. Who else we have?
I mean, we got a few others. There's Blockstream. They've got their holiday Bitcoin wallet sale going on, 21% off using our link on our website. 1 Acre Farms. They've got beef snacks that you'll love. And we're going to talk a little bit about the weather. To get into our one of our best sponsors. Not the best.
Oh,
they're
okay.
All
but
equal.
Let's do a little banter right now.
Well, this is part of the banter. What's the fucking weather is crazy.
In 2021 in Coeur d'Alene.
I remember that one.
Oh, it was wild.
That was crazy.
Every few years, we have a situation with our old growth trees where it gets really warm and it gets really wet, and the roots of the trees they're just not deep in there. And then we have a windstorm. So that is what has happened this week. And trees are just taking out cars and taking out houses. So I go outside this morning and a massive old growth spruce, I think, or maybe a pine. I don't know trees.
Ponderosa pine,
yeah,
maybe?
It's huge tree, has fallen. Actually, just a branch has fallen off, wiped out my fence, my giant 6-foot fence.
Your beautiful white picket fence.
Yeah, seriously.
Your American dream is dead now.
Absolutely wiped it out. And it is laying in my yard, taking up a third of the yard, 4 feet from my house. So I walked outside and I was like, best day ever, because I have no damage to my home. It's just my fence. I'm so excited about it.
You were out of power too, right?
No, I was not. But when I was dropping my daughter off, it was like all the way from Prairie to Huetter.
Hutter. It's Hutter. Hutter. Huetter.
Whatever. That spells sweater. I don't care what anybody says.
What do you say? Celtice?
I'll say Celtice. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
You are a foreigner. You don't belong in
Spokane.
Spokane.
No, I'm just joking.
Bro, you will
no power.
You'll get beat up.
So everything was a 4-way stop. No business was open. So yeah, it's the biblical storm of the decade.
True.
I think it's over though.
Well, it's the warning or whatever was until 4:00, but it was crazy, and it's also the rain. There was like a shit ton.
Oh,
of
so
rain.
much rain.
There was, I know, flooding over in Shoshone County. I think the Kootenai River flooded.
Shoshone.
But also out in out in Seattle area, it's absolutely wild, and we've got to give a big shout out. I've got some footage here that I can roll. Our friends over at ODGG Supply went out to help, and they actually did more for the people out there in Western Washington than the state did. They were filling up sandbags, volunteering, helping people save their houses from all of this flooding. I can skip ahead a little bit.
That warms my cold black heart.
Yeah, and so here they are.
I can't see anything.
Oh, you can't? Oh, of course, because
No.
I didn't press the button.
Because you didn't press the button.
I didn't press the button. But anyway, our friends at ODGG Supply really stepped up. They were filling sandbags all late into the hours last night, and so we've got to give them a big shout out for doing that. Being pillars of their community, filling up these sandbags. They're selling them now too on their website. So if you need to buy sandbags for whatever reason, they're gonna have them. But big shout out to ODGG Supply. You can currently go online and get a friend or a loved one a gift card for 10% off. So thank you for your service. This is definitely, people are always like, what do we do? Do we have to have a revolution against the government? Blah, blah, blah.
How about help your neighbors?
No, be the pillar of your community that doesn't exist because society sucks. Just be a good person.
I'm going to talk about that in my rants if I decide not to cut the segment for time because we have so much to talk about.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
do.
To start, we got to talk about this Candace v. Erica thing.
You were like, she comes into the studio today like watching the Candace Owens show.
Because she's live streaming right now and 160,000 people are watching it. So no one's watching our show. I mean, who's watching this right now? It is grade A, 10 out of 10 slop. I couldn't look away. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to talk the White House Hanukkah dinner, our financial situation in America, all of this and more on your favorite nationalist podcast, The Backlash.
True. I've also got to give a big shout out and a thank you. We got coming up on the 22nd, Father James Maudsley is going to be coming on the show. And so he sent me a copy of his new book, The Metaphysics of Love, Reality as the Way of Life by Father Maudsley. So you can pick that up on Amazon if you want. It's very good.
Well, on that lovely note, let's talk about Rob Reiner.
Oh, no.
This is so crazy. I saw this story break and I was like, this can't be real. And alas, it is true. Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle, were murdered allegedly by their son, who looks totally insane, by the way. Have you seen pictures of him? So he slit their throats.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. They had actually gotten in a fight the previous night at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, and a lot of people were mentioning that he was acting insane. The son was. He just kept going up to people and asking if they were famous, and everyone was like really creeped out. Like, who's this weirdo? Right. Next day, slits both of his parents' throat.
Oh, jeez.
I'm seeing a lot of controversial takes online about this. I might have one, but I don't know, especially in the wake of Charlie Kirk, I think we should probably give thoughts and prayers or whatever. Nick was like, what kind of monster could find this funny? I'm over there like.
You? Jeez, that's not good.
No.
See, I mean, like, I had I don't know if it was a controversial take or anything like that, but there was like all of these Catholics coming out of the woodwork, like, pray for his soul, pray for his soul. And it's like, he wasn't baptized. He was Jewish.
Yeah.
He spent his entire life promoting atheism, secularism, the worldly life.
Homeboy is toast. He did have a very good take after Charlie Kirk was murdered, though.
Yeah.
About, political affiliation shouldn't result in the celebration of your death. On that note, can you pull up 4? This is Rob Reiner conspiring with John Brennan and Jim Clapper to overthrow Trump. Mostly, I just want to talk about this because it's kind of old news at this point. We don't have to watch the clip, but Reiner's father helped the CIA run Hollywood, and Rob carried on the family business when he publicly met with Brennan and Clapper. He was affirming that Hollywood was on board, DEI to destroy culture, a coup to shatter the people's attempt to reclaim power. He was a monster. Now, I tend to agree with this, and it seems like there was a serious dysfunction in the family. The son had talked about how he had lost his virginity to a prostitute when he was 14, using Rob Reiner's money. I mean, he was a Hollywood kid. Lord knows the dysfunction he was exposed to. He was an addict. He had serious mental health issues. I don't think that that's really going to play out in court. Did you see this?
No.
Okay, I guess we can watch this. What's this guy's name? I always forget.
Yeah. That's the guy, Al.
I always want to call him Al Roker.
No, it's not Al Roker. Wasn't he the black guy?
Yeah.
The weather guy from.
Oh my gosh.
Remember? Wasn't that him?
It's not Al
This
Roker.
is
Al Roker's a big fat
He
guy.
was like what's his name? The chat. The
I bet
chat
Cameron
can tell
knows.
us. The chat can tell. He was the one that was caught doing the like boob.
Yeah,
grab.
the boob picture. All right, let's go ahead and play this. This looks like some kind of roast.
See, as a baby, Rob was routinely beaten by his father, Carl. On a typical night, Carl would slip into Rob's bed, roll him over, swab him down,
Franken.
Al Franken.
and say something like, I'm thinking about hiring Maury Amsterdam to play Buddy Sorrell. What do you think?
It's worse.
Well, the success of the Dick Van Dyke Show changed things dramatically. Carl started inviting many of his famous friends to son.
That's all.
Bro.
Just so degenerate. Now, there's no evidence that this actually happened, but like this is aging badly.
The fact that this was like, that's not funny. That's not funny.
Al Franken, man.
Bro, this guy, can you believe he got like elected to office back in the day?
Yeah, I can totally believe that.
Never mind. I say this as we have like Mr. Grab him by the pussy.
Yeah, I know.
Is the president, right? So, okay, yeah.
Let's pull up 5. This is Trump's statement on Truth Social about this, which was just unhinged. I'm going to read this in its entirety. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife, Michelle. Reportedly, this is dementia Trump, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession with President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, delusional, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace. How on earth did he manage to make this about himself? He always does this.
He's losing it.
Losing it.
And yeah, Nick's take on this was correct. It's like we're not getting any of the things that we wanted. We're not getting the mass deportations. We're not getting the economy back on track. We're not reshoring manufacturing. We're not getting rid of the deep state. There's no trials. There's no arrests. It's all more of the same.
But we're upon a golden era of America, the likes of which we never have seen before. That is so delusional.
And mean tweets. And that's it.
That's
and we
it.
get mean tweets and no change.
And ice slop.
The
Absolutely.
ICE account is like the best account. And it's like for slop, the DHS, you know what I mean? Like the DHS.gov account, for it being slop, it's like the best slop out there. It's not like it's not like Beekeeper, I saw it in a dream slop.
I know. We'll talk about that in a second. But before we do, Cameron, do you have anything to say about this? Trump seems like he has lost the plot. This is an unhinged response. And that's coming from somebody who hated Rob Reiner.
Well, I mean, we've talked on this program for a long time about the mental condition of Donald Trump. I can't speak exactly to what's going on in his mind any more than anybody else. But what I will say is that what I've observed from Donald Trump since 2015, when he declared that he was running for president, is continuity. This is a man who was self-evidently never qualified to be president of the United States. He lacked the temperament for it. He's emotional. He's erratic. He's spiteful. He never expressed, at least not to me, any of the skill set that's required to actually run a government. And the lesson here, folks, I think, and I've tried to make this abundantly clear, is do not use social media or celebrity as your source staff for government. We need a radically different assortment of characters that are going to go into government and actually implement change. Donald Trump never exhibited the leadership capacity, the leadership capability or characteristics to do that. So I can't say that I'm surprised. I think, though, that Dave is right, that as bad as he was at the start, it's getting worse. And maybe it's the pressure that's getting to him. Maybe it's his advanced age. I mean, a lot of this does sort of reek of senescence. That's a fancy way of saying he's getting old. But maybe there's other things going on as well. Either way, and I'm going to come back to this later on in the show, that 25th Amendment, it's out there, and it has never been forcefully used. And that being the amendment that removes a president for competency. I think something like that could happen.
Wouldn't that be a twist?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it'll happen depending on what happens later today. I don't want to spill the beans or whatever, but I think we're going to talk about this. There's been rumors flying around on X that we're going to declare war on Venezuela later. So, I mean, that could do it.
Man,
I don't know.
We are going to talk about that. But first, let's talk about the slop content that everybody's here for.
Of course.
We have to do justice to the excellent thumbnail. Dave, this is Dave's finest work.
I think that was I think this is the best thumbnail that I've done for the show yet. I'm like,
he was so
really
proud
pleased,
of himself.
really pleased. Look at her face. Look at her face. Oh no, see, entropy's glitchy.
Can you pull up 6, please?
Yeah.
So Erica Kirk announced on Monday that she had a productive conversation with Candace Owens, signaling a possible thaw in the rift following weeks of public tension in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination. Kirk shared a brief update and a statement on X that hinted more details would come. Had a very productive conversation with Real Candace. At Real Candace. Kirk said, more to come from both of us. Looking forward to AmFest this week. Time to get back to work. In a separate update on X, Candace Owens echoed the same message, saying that the hours-long conversation involved more agreements than she had anticipated. Erica and I had an extremely productive 4.5-hour meeting that I think we both should feel have taken place a lot earlier. Both feel should have taken place. Owen said, we agreed on much more than I had anticipated. Of course, we all disagreed on various points as well. Most importantly, we were able to share intel and clarify intent. Now, on the Backlash, we have exclusive footage of this meeting that has never been seen before.
Yes, we
It
do.
was not recorded, so I don't know how we got this. This is 7.
We're enemies. You're a fucking genius. We got this shit in the bag.
It's funny how nobody realizes we work for the same people. I mean, how stupid can society be?
They're so stupid. I think I'm going to hop on the podcast tomorrow and say you're a reptilian lizard person. It should spare us a couple days.
That's perfect. You saw my Fox News interview, right? Everyone thinks my eyes changed and shit. So stupid. Girl, everyone.
But Candace is just getting eviscerated. Can you pull up 8? She did a video about their meeting where she literally said nothing. An hour and a half of her saying nothing.
Oops.
So Dave, let's just scroll to the comments. Dave and I talked last night after we both watched this, and we were like, well, she has to come out tomorrow because she's getting totally roasted in the comments. And Dave said she's going to say that all of the people in the comments are feds or bots, and she's going to report that there is some exclusive thing, some explosive thing. I was just listening to her podcast, and she's like, explosive developments that prove unequivocally that this was the federal government. And she's like, and to all those feds in my comments, we're not buying it. We, the American people, are not, is exactly what you said was going to happen. Let's look at these comments, which are clearly not from bots. They are from her audience. Transparency is never found in private meetings. That's where deals are made. Oof. I think I just realized we, the people, will never be allowed to know. It's a big club and we aren't in it. I like that one.
The first 20 minutes
Why
to
did she use the
criticize
first 20 minutes to criticize the public instead of talking about her convo? 4.5 hours of conversation, and yet we, the people, are still confused.
This one's good. My advice is to put the phones down and go outside. These people can't be trusted.
Yeah, keep scrolling. I mean, some of these are just so spot on. Crawling back into my cave, thought we almost had a real one. 14,000 upvotes. We learned nothing, absolutely nothing. They're all like this. Basically, the last 20 episodes were just for vibes. The show's over. Y'all can go home now.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, I think that people are looking at this and they're like, what have we done by investing so heavily in this narrative? And I would like some apologies from people because on our Monday show, we got eviscerated in our comments for having DG Sarah on because we were talking about Candace and how this is like mega wine mom slop and how she's compromised, and everybody in the comments, she's a patriot. She wants to get to the bottom. Candace is totally compromised. Erica compromised. All of these people are friends. They're all interacting with one another. And I bet that this meeting that they had was just a way for them to navigate the financial logistics of what is going on. And I bet they had attorneys there, and I bet nothing really was said that was meaningful or valuable. Can you pull up 9? This is comedian John Christ. And he recently went to a Tucker Carlson party. He realized the world is a stage. Let's just watch this till, I don't know, a minute and a half.
Tucker Carlson's there. Marjorie Taylor Greene is there.
Wow.
Candace Owens is there. And I go, Lydia, Candace Owens is here. She's like, what? Well, I go, Candace is here. She goes, tell her I'm reading her book. I go, not Candace Bure. Candace Owens is here.
Yeah.
She's like, what?
The other one.
The real one.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And then and then there's like a bunch of Turning Point people there. There's a bunch of like, I wrote down a list of everybody that I saw there. A bunch of comics were there. Brennan Shaw, Theo, a bunch of people, a bunch of MMA fighters in there. And I was like, I go, all right, this is what I always have thought about those kind of things. And I'll just say it out loud for everybody listening. And I've said this before in some kind of context. There was Turning Point people there. And Candace Owens was there. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson. I hate to say this out loud. Everybody friends. Everybody friends. Mm-hmm. And I've said that before. Mm-hmm. And I go, I've heard before about Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. It's like we saw like the Democratic majority leader and like the Republican, they're at dinner. I go, yeah, everybody friends. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and everybody like kind of.
And this is what everybody needs to realize. All of these people, they're so wealthy, they're so connected that they will do these major public battles, but behind closed doors, they're all buddies. They share the same pool of wealthy investors.
Oh yeah, and it was crazy. We mentioned it on the only reason we're going back over this is because there's so many of you that like don't watch the Monday shows, so we got to like do it all over again. But this past weekend, I was in Pennsylvania, and one of the priests that I was hanging out with down there for after mass, he knows George Farmer.
Oh, really?
Personally. And so I was asking about this. I'm like, what's going on here? I've got people telling me George Farmer's gay. That it was an arranged marriage between him and Candace. Like, what's going on? Like, and he just looked at me and he was like, yeah, he really needs to tell his wife to like stop. Yeah. And I'm like, you think?
Yeah.
You think? And the crazy thing about it is that George Farmer, Candace Owens' husband, her husband, is the founding chairman of Turning Point UK. Hello, people. Are we paying attention? Because like you've got Candace Owens on the one side, married to the chairman of Turning Point UK, that is now attacking Turning Point USA, and y'all think this isn't fake? That this isn't just about like ginning up clicks and controversy and making money on both sides. Yeah. Erica gets to play the victim, and Candace gets to rake in all the money from the conspiratards. It's like a perfect win-win.
Perfectly symbiotic. And of course, Tucker is in on this. Can we pull up 10? So Tucker has this amicable interview with Fuentes, and then he goes around saying this. Fuentes tweeted this. He said, it's obvious now that Tucker and his BFF, J.D. Vance, have been deployed to suppress white identity politics, tribalism for Jews, blacks, and Indians, but universal principles for white people. That's exactly how we got here. Let's play the clip.
First of all, Fuentes is saying a lot of true things. That's why he's popular. He's funny. He's smart. But
he's a good broadcaster. Yeah.
He's a great broadcaster. But Fuentes, on some macro level, is troubling because his platform is an expression of something that has kind of taken over all political discourse, which is identity politics, tribalism. And I'm just opposed to that, period, and always will be. And I just think that we're governed by universal principles or we're governed by the mafia. Those are our choices. And so, our principles have to apply to every human being, or certainly every American citizen, period, or they're not principles. They're just a justification for tyranny. So Fuentes, has a different kind of identity politics, but there are all kinds of different identity politics. We lived under it during the Biden years. We've lived under it most of my life, actually, in one form or another.
This is such a retarded take, because where this puts us is unable to use our identity to build communities while every other group is still able to do it. It's exactly what we've been talking about this entire time. He's gone full circle. And I'm starting to believe that he used his interview with Nick as a launch pad to put us in some kind of limited hangout so that he can have the Viveks of the world run America.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Vivek, by the way, second Christmas in a row that he's spending crashing out on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Talking about Nick and identity politics and white people and all this stuff. He's totally crashing out again.
The idea that people shouldn't use identity politics, it's moot because people do. People use their identity that they're inextricably intertwined with to inform what benefits their in-group. In-group preferences are so innate. They're so innate. So it doesn't matter that we shouldn't do it. I don't even know if that's an argument that we should be having because people do it. Everyone does it.
It's like living in the post-nuclear age and, Russia's got the bomb, but the bomb is bad, so we shouldn't have the bomb.
Right.
What are you talking
have
about?
To have the bomb.
Identity politics is a very potent political tool.
Of course it is.
It's a tool that can be used to generate outcomes for a particular group of people with a shared common identity. Hello. And so to have him come out and say, there's this tool, it's very effective, but you can't use it. Everyone else, they're going to continue to use it, but we shouldn't because we're better than that. That's how you lose. That's exactly how you lose.
Cameron, I know you had some things you wanted to say about this.
I'll just be brief because I think what Dave said lastly is the point. But look, politics is identity. There is no separation. And to think that there is I think a sense of supercilious, self-righteous moralism that is peculiar to the sort of WASP elite culture that has really screwed up and destroyed the United States. On social media in particular, there is an obsession with subterranean, subversive interests, right? Maybe it's the JQ, maybe it's the Cuban lobby, maybe it's the Council of 300, maybe it's the Bilderbergers. And this obsession takes people down rabbit holes in which they concoct all kinds of conspiracies that explain why societies crumble or why nations fall or why nations rise or what have you. But what you observe from folks like Tucker, and I don't despise Tucker, and what I'm about to say is not unique to him. It characterizes, frankly, the class of people that I come from. I was, raised very differently. To be sure. And I sort of come from a world, in a sense, based on how I was raised, that predates this kind of degeneracy. But the fact of the matter is, folks, that the WASP elites in particular, they are responsible for the current state of dysfunction, not just in the United States, but across the Western world, because of exactly the kind of moralism that you just heard. If you know that a game is rigged, and all of these people do. And that is to say that democracy is just degenerated into tribalism, and it's always been that way, always, okay? Whether you're talking about the Middle East, you're talking about Western countries or what have you, we know that that's always been the case. There's no debating that whatsoever. So effectively, what I'm saying is you are not noble for following the rules of a rigged game at all. A game that everybody knows is rigged. And worse than that, and I think this is the key point. If you follow the rules of a rigged game knowingly because of a sense of moral supremacy, which is the key point here, you are a worse tyrant than the villains opposite you because you're enabling the very tyranny that you say you're opposed to. And that's what Tucker Carlson and the entire libertarian or mainstream conservative elites in this country have done for 50 years. They have refused to confront evil with force. It's just that simple. It's too hard. It's difficult. You have to have skin, in the game. In other words, there could be blowback if you do it. So it's easier to simply say, well, I'm above these sort of peccadillos that morally inferior people engage in. And in the meantime, you let your entire society descend into Hobbesian anarchy. And that is precisely where we are right now. The good news is this: the politics of things has already overtaken these people. They're irrelevant. And to some degree, I think they've become consumed by their own product. What is their product, by the way? all of these people. And, you know, what's striking to me is the influence that Donald Trump really has had on American culture, political culture in particular, but not exclusively. Since he ran for president, all of these people, Candace Owens, you know, certainly Charlie Kirk to some degree, I'm sure his wife, they're all basically mini-me's of Donald Trump. And the product that they're selling is their own narcissism. That's what it is. Right? I am selling you on the idea that I have a unique take about the power structure or about the direction the country's in or the unique conspiracy that's going to blow the whole lid off of the machine. This is a fraud. And the only way to stop this kind of addiction, and it has been called an addiction economy, and I think that's exactly what it is a detox. And that's ultimately where we're headed, is that all of these people, whether it's Candace Owens or any of them, they're essentially going to oversaturate the marketplace with their own narcissism to the point where the addict has nothing less to do except withdrawal. And that's why I've always said to you, Rebecca, there's no need to worry about the dilettantes. There's no need to worry about the charlatans, because ultimately they're going to self-destruct because they're phonies. And that's what we're seeing happen. And my hope is that once we get past this, then we can begin the process of sort of building a new cadre, a new elite. I do think that that's where we're headed. But the public needs a detox from this first, and we're not quite there yet. But Candace and Trump and all these people sort of spinning out of control, I think that tells you that we're getting close to the end of this sort of malignant narcissism, because that's what it is.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say there was this clip that I played for you just before we went live.
And this just happened?
This just happened an hour ago. And you were like, this has got to be AI. And I'm like, this is not AI. This is real. This is from Piers Morgan Uncensored. Candace did an interview today. Hold on to your hat.
Explosive.
This is so funny.
Brigitte Macron and you, is that he was weaponizing deliberate lies for money. And I think you
Brigitte
did that.
Macron has a penis. I really want you to know that.
Brigitte Macron does not have a penis.
Brigitte Macron has a penis.
No, she doesn't.
I'm sorry.
She had 3 children.
Did she get it removed?
She had 3 children.
Yeah, you can have adoptive children. You can call somebody, but Brigitte Macron was born a dude named Jean-Michel Trogneau.
Well,
like what?
Totally unprompted, just like.
What is this?
Oh my God. We are hurtling as a society in a car going 88 miles per hour straight toward a brick wall, and the flux capacitor is broken.
But I understand the appeal of this slop because, you know, this is like watching Real Housewives or something.
Oh yeah,
it's total brain rot, and it's appealing because it's a commentary on what's going on, but it's also a commentary on the quality of the people that we have in this country. Like, this is totally unhinged.
Oh yeah, and it's not just unhinged, but it's also like it all serves to distract from the actual issues that we're facing, which I think we're about to get into here. Because it's like for the past, 2 months since October, or when was it, September 10th, since Charlie got shot, there's been like millions of people in America that have been only looking at the Charlie Kirk thing. Mm-hmm. They've been, hopped up on this Candace Owens bullshit, and they've been completely oblivious to everything else that's going on. What's happening in Gaza, what's happening in South America, what's happening in the government, what's going on in Washington, D.C., the finance, the financial sector, it's not good. It's not good.
Let's talk about what's really going on. The reason that Candace was able to draw so many people in is that she was appropriately talking about Israeli influence in the government. And everybody was like, that must mean that she's telling the truth. But it's, 2 truths and a lie. Let's pull up clip 11. This is Benjamin Netanyahu saying that had it not been for the Jews, the USA would not exist. We brought you into this world. We can take you out. These are the real issues.
Holy shit. He said that?
I said, Mike, that we are fighting today the battle that the Maccabees fought. They fought for the survival of the Jewish people and the Jewish faith against an enemy that wanted to extinguish us, wipe us out from the face of the earth. We were fighting our battle, but we were also fighting the battle of civilization. because our civilization is based on the Judeo-Christian tradition.
What?
And if the Maccabees had failed, there'd be no Judaism, there would be no Judeo-Christian civilization. There would be no Maccabees. There would be no United States, there wouldn't be the civilization of freedom, the respect for our common traditions, our common values. All of that would not happen if it weren't for those 5 brave brothers. They actually made the whole difference. So that spirit animates these brave soldiers that are here today and their comrades who are fighting in Gaza or in Lebanon or in Iran, wherever is necessary to not only preserve the Jewish nation and the Jewish state, but preserve civilization against the barbarians. The barbarians are out there. They did a horrible thing to us on October 7th. They'll never do it again. But they're doing it against Jews in Sydney and Jews elsewhere in America and elsewhere. This is our common battle against the barbarians. We have won it here, we're winning it here, we'll win it everywhere. Chag Sameach, Chag Chanukah Sameach likulchem. Toda rabba lachem. Toda rabba.
Boo.
This is not just Netanyahu, though. This is the philosophy that is being instituted in our federal government, in our laws. We're not even going to talk about the shooting. We talked about it on Monday. That's
Bondi
why.
Beach shooting.
The Bondi Beach shooting and Brown.
Well, I will say this, like the local Zionist church here, Candlelight Christian Fellowship, that I've done all those Dave After Dark videos about, they were in their little Telegram group chat yesterday, I think it was, or 2 days ago, blaming the Bondi Beach shooting on this program.
Wow.
What the fuck is wrong with people? It's like,
Well-
so just in case y'all got it twisted or something like that, I'll speak for myself. Here's how we win. Be moral, be virtuous, be a pillar of your community. Okay? Going out and shooting up a bunch of Jews on the beach, or anyone for that matter, murder of any kind. Fuck that. Don't do it.
Don't
Hello?
murder.
We are not like the pro-murder program. We're like against what's going on in Gaza. We are against the war in Venezuela, against war in Iran. We've been like very consistently like anti-death. We are not a program that seeks to get people to go out and like commit random acts of violence.
No, that's
or
that's
not
nonsense.
random, as the Bondi Beach may not have been a random act of violence.
Right.
That was targeted.
It's a trite statement now, but the number one cause of anti-Semitism is
Jewish behavior.
Right. And they've totally infiltrated the government.
Mark Levin.
Let's pull up 12. This was the Stop Anti-Semitism Now conference. What was this?
Yes. Let me see.
There it is.
I've got it. This was the Jerusalem Post conference, and the president of the group Stop Anti-Semitism,
Right.
which is,
Yeah.
they made me Anti-Semite of the Week back in 2021 when I was running for school board up here. Like, what the fuck?
Of the week. That's not even.
I know, I didn't even make up.
Congratulations, Dave.
I know.
Congratulations.
I'm still waiting on the trophy, Cameron.
Little belated,
They
but-
haven't sent me the trophy.
How many anti-Semites of the week?
Yeah, they made me Anti-Semite of the Week, and but they keep lists. Just like there's this other group called the Canary Mission, right? And so we've kind of won this political victory. Like y'all remember the Ban the ADL campaign
Yes, yeah.
that we were all kind of in on a couple of years ago, and so Elon Musk has driven a wedge between the Anti-Defamation League and the FBI. But now what's going on is instead of using the Anti-Defamation League or the Southern Poverty Law Center, these federal law enforcement agencies have gone over to groups like Stop Anti-Semitism and the Canary Mission or Project Esther from the Heritage
Yes,
Foundation.
yeah.
And all of these people are building lists and loading it into Palantir so that they can track and trace us. And so this is what I said. I said, oh, look, they're saying out loud what they've been doing to me and my family for the past 8 years. Here is the clip.
Since that day, we have featured more than 1,000 anti-Semites on our platforms. 1,000. Not theorized about them, not quietly documented them, feature them publicly, clearly, and with evidence. The results speak for themselves. Approximately 400 of these Jew haters have faced real consequences, including firings, suspensions, and expulsions. This is what accountability looks like. This is what action looks like. If you target Jewish students, your actions will not disappear into the darkness. We will shine a light on you that, thanks to Google and SEO, will follow you for the rest of your life. When you look for a job, when you look for a spouse, when you look for a nanny, when you look for anything, our work will always be documented. Again, thanks to Google and SEO.
And this is what's happened to me. It's been like this since Charlottesville. You know, you apply for a job, someone Googles your name, and then it's like anti-Semite, white supremacist, blah, 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 blah. And it follows you around. I'll do it right now. Like I bet you, if I go search David J. Riley on Google, what are we going to get? Well, I guess it's not that bad. Well, but maybe it's changed. I don't know. I guess if you go to Idaho Capital Sun, they've probably got, hate makes a comeback in Idaho, blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
But this is an important point, Dave, because look, there is this thing, this pesky law of diminishing returns. If you saturate the marketplace with your product, as we mentioned a moment ago with social media, eventually you're sort of going to hit a threshold. And oftentimes when that occurs, you then sort of see not just a dip, but a crash in the market. And that's exactly what's happened. But as we've discussed, this is a group of people that only has one speed. There is no adjustment, right? So their tactics are the same today as 20 years ago or 5 years ago. And because of that, they're ineffectual. They're not working anymore. And you can sort of sense the lack of self-awareness in what she said, right? We're calling attention to these people because they're so horrifyingly bad, not realizing that taboo that was once so crippling, that you alluded to a moment ago, right, Dave? Oh, it will follow me around. Well, now you go on the internet and you're having trouble finding exactly what you did, right? That raised those suspicions. The taboo is dissipating. It's not gone yet. It hasn't completely disintegrated, right? If somebody levels that accusation against you, there's still some damage. But is it fatal? No, it's not fatal. And thirdly, I would say, worse than the failure of the tactics because of the law of diminishing returns or because the taboo is being broken, worse than all of that is now they're drawing attention to themselves in a way that demonstrates the very opposite principle that they're trying to disprove, namely that they are a special group that does have outsized power, that exercises that power with prejudice. So again, they're ensnared in the very trap that they laid for everybody else. And again, this is a fancy way of saying you reap what you sow, but it's not going to stop until you get regime change in Israel and you get some kind of a political revolution in the United States. These are the twin pillars, if you will, of their power, but both are committed to an eschatology of delusion, to sort of machine gunning the entire world around you until it ricochets back and destroys you. And that's exactly what's going to happen. This is the end. This is the end. They had their influence, their power, their dominance has peaked. And now it's beginning to recede. And like a sort of tired old boxer, what are they doing? Right? They're throwing shadow punches in the dark and they're not landing. This is where we are.
Well, I hate to push back on this because I agree with you. I do agree with you in principle, but I guess where I'm coming from and with what I've been seeing, I think that Jewish power has been rising. And as Jewish power rises, opposition to Jewish power also rises with it. What I don't think that we are at the crest of that wave yet. I think that in the next 6 months to a year, maybe we'll be closer to the peak of that because they still have Trump in office, Vance in office. We're going to look at these Hanukkah parties that they're going to. And with that, I think that they can get more tyrannical, more draconian. I think we're going to see censorship increase. I think we're going to see deplatformings come back. And we talked about this a little bit on Monday, but Laura Loomer, the crazy Zionist activist, she's now calling for the reestablishment of the Jewish Defense League, which was a terrorist organization that ran havoc in the 1970s and 80s, bombing embassies, murdering Arabs, hijacking and blowing shit up all over the place. And eventually one of their people murdered the president of Israel, Yitzhak Rabin. And so I agree with you, but I don't think we're there yet. I think things are going to get worse. I think we're going to see this thing go even crazier. And, just to relate this back a little bit, there's been a lot of back and forth about Hanukkah online. This isn't in the show. I didn't put it in the show notes. I should have. But it is interesting. If you look at the 1913 Catholic Encyclopedia, the dedication of the feast, also called the Feast of the Maccabees or the Feast of Lights, that's what Hanukkah is, right? And we saw in like the 1950s this kind of resurgence of Hanukkah, especially after the reestablishment of the State of Israel. Plus, they were butthurt that they didn't get to celebrate Christmas. They don't get to open presents and all of this kind of stuff. But what a lot of people seem to be missing, especially the evangelical Christians, the Zionist Christians and all of that, and just, your run-of-the-mill Protestants that are ahistorical. They don't read in context anything, when you go through John 10, the Gospel of St. John, chapter 10, says it was the feast of the dedication at Jerusalem, and it was winter. So it's establishing it's Hanukkah. And what did the Jews do on Hanukkah? They tried to stone Jesus Christ. They picked up stones to kill him. That's what it says in verse 31. And so when you pair all of this up and you put it all back into this context with these Stop Anti-Semitism people, the ADL and the Canary Mission and all of these people, they're like, we're going to follow you. We're going to ruin your life. We're going to get, it's the same shit they've been doing. Since the beginning.
But a couple things here. First is when boxer number 1 in the world has to acknowledge boxer number 2.
True.
He's already lost the plot. Okay?
True.
That's the first thing. Second is that there's a difference between taking proactive steps and taking reactive steps.
Yes.
What you're seeing is a position of reaction. What you're seeing is erratic behavior because they feel under threat. And it's usually when you feel under threat that you start to swing wildly. I guess I'm overdoing it with the boxing analogies, but you start to swing wildly and open yourself up to the finishing blow. And I suppose I'm agreeing with you to disagree. And that is to say, there's going to be a continuation, and I would argue an escalation of this conflict in the Middle East. Yes. Absolutely. And to some degree, I think that's what you're saying. There's going to be an escalation of this sort of crackdown to some degree via anti-Semitism groups, right? Political action committees and so forth. I'm simply saying that even though that's the case, it's going to have the opposite effect. Whereas if you go back 10 or 20 years, look, I think both of you know this better than I do. If you were labeled an anti-Semite, if you were identified by these people, you were going to be deplatformed, and that was the end of you. And there were very few exceptions. Your friend as being a notable exception. But for the most part, you were erased. You were gone. And I would even argue that despite the success of the Groyper movement, what really resuscitated them was the self-destructive campaign in Gaza.
Yes.
Because ultimately what's happened in Gaza is that has broken the taboo. And my point to all of you has always been, and I just cannot stress this enough, when you really have to use power, right? When you have to engage the armed forces rather than just the specter or the threat of that power, then you've already lost. And that's what's happening now, right? The taboo was the most powerful thing they had. That is what we talked about last week. It's the narrative that emanates from the Second War, right? The sacrilege of violating the tenets of that religion, that was unacceptable, right? The public, the government, the community wouldn't stand for it. Now, it's gone viral. And what the hell are they going to do? Okay, they can send up 50 more political action committees. It's not going to stop. They're not going to get that taboo back in place. And that means they've already lost.
And in the context of censorship, the cat is out of the bag on this one. I mean, what are they going to do? Censor these people that have gained viral momentum? It would be so much more obvious than preventing this message from getting out in the first place like they were doing in 2017. I think it would just be catastrophic to their cause. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I think it would backfire massively.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think I mean, you can look at what happened in Germany. You can look at what happened in Russia. Every single time it happens like this. As Jewish power rises, resentment also rises with them. So,
well, it's also look. You got to account for variable change. The dynamics, and here I'm speaking, I suppose, from a military vantage point. But look, your advantage on the battlefield going into the fight, maybe it's technology, maybe it's a tactic. That's not going to last very long because eventually the enemy's going to figure out what you're doing and they're going to counter it, right? And so what warfare is all about is this sort of constant innovation. Where's the innovation on their side?
None.
Where is it? There's none. It's retrenchment. It's revanchism because they're intellectually, spiritually, and otherwise broken. I think they've got one taboo left, and I see a lot of evidence for it, frankly, on this show with you guys a little bit, but a lot from the audience. And that taboo is, but they're so smart and they're so powerful and they have these elaborate schemes. Well, that's breaking too. It hasn't been disintegrated, but if we go back 12 months, long before the fiasco in Syria, remember that was one of the early things we talked about. And I remember Dave and Vince distinctly, and I'm not calling you out, but there was a prevailing sentiment from our audience. This was a masterstroke. They regime changed Assad. They got back control of the Golan Heights. And what did I say? I said, this was a mistake. This was opening up another front. This was inviting the Ottomans to come right back into the fray. Meanwhile, they then opened up another front with Iran, and on and on and on it goes. Their position today, ladies and gentlemen, is extremely fragile. And here's the kicker. Are they aware of it? They're afraid, yeah, to be sure. They're reacting to being under threat. There's no question about it. But are they aware of the fragility of their circumstance? Absolutely not. And how do I know that? How can I say that with such self-confidence? Because of their actions. If you knew that you were vulnerable to destruction, you practice the Hippocratic Oath. You do no harm. You stop. Right? You limit the damage that's been done to you. Are they doing that? No, they're not. They're doubling down and doubling down and doubling down. They're escalating to the point where either they're going to be completely destroyed or the other side will be completely destroyed. That is a dangerous game to play, always and forever.
That's absolutely true. And I think that that's always the undoing of Jews is their hubris because their chutzpah, because they believe that they are the chosen people of God and that they will win in this spiritual battle. And this is why they're constantly flexing their institutional power. Can we pull up 13? This was astonishing to watch, even though I've seen this before, and I still was watching this and I was like, God, this guy. Let's pull up this clip.
Miriam gave my campaign indirectly and directly $250 million. She was number one.
So crass.
Bruh.
When somebody can give you $250 million, I think that we should give her the opportunity to say hello. And Miriam, make it quick.
This is the White House Christmas dinner,
$250
by
million
the way.
is not what it used to be. Okay? Hello, darling. Come in.
Ew. Cooties.
Incredible woman with a great husband, a man that loved Israel.
Well, Mr. President, when you were in the Israeli parliament and you gave a speech and you saw me from far away, at that time I came with a scooter to the parliament just to hear you. I wanted to hear you alive. And then you say, Miriam Adelson, and I stood for a second, but it was so painful, so I sat. Then you screamed, Miriam, stand up! And I wish you would have known, but I stood up and heard all your compliment, and thank you very much.
I saw you back there standing.
Yeah, you saw me.
She stood
Thank
up
you.
bravely.
And now I met Alan Dershowitz, and he said the legal thing about 4 more years, and I say, Alan, I agree with you. So We can do it. Think about it.
Alan's
and I
here
would be,
someplace. Where's Alan?
Alan is here. Oh, he had a flight.
Alan Dershowitz of Epstein fame.
Underpants, Alan. Think about it.
Second. Yeah.
She said, think about it. I'll give you another 250.
Oh my God.
But her husband, Sheldon, was an amazing guy. And he'd come up to the office. And there was nobody more aggressive than Sheldon. I think I spent more time with him and you, because you usually came up together. But he'd call and say, can I come over, please? I say, Sheldon, I'm president of the United States. It doesn't work that way anymore. It's like... maybe tomorrow. How about tomorrow? No, please, just for a little while. And I would, he'd always say 10 minutes. It turned out to be about an hour and a half, right?
Do we have that Mark Levin
and
clip
what
too?
he did is he fought for Israel. That's all he really fought for. He just wanted to take care of.
He fought for Israel. That's all he really fought for?
Yep.
Unbelievable. Was there more?
No, that's good.
That's basically it.
A lot of good clips came out of this.
Holy shit.
So it's the White House Christmas dinner that he has renamed the White House Christmas and Hanukkah dinner.
Unbelievable.
Unilaterally.
And so this was...
This is not the first
same
time.
event?
This is the second time Mark Levin has said this, right?
I believe so. Let's take a look.
And I said, this is our first Jewish president. Now he's the first Jewish president to serve two not consecutive presidencies. We thank you for everything.
That's right. Bad things happened on the second one. Namely, the election was rigged. And we found out, and you see that happening. But
and you are the greatest president.
Thank you very much.
And God bless you. I miss you. I miss you.
They're just using it as an opportunity to flex their institutional power to show the American people that they're still in control. And what is Trump doing during this period? What is he doing? He's getting us involved in foreign wars. The American people they're having trouble paying their basic bills, their grocery bills, their gas bills. And he's throwing a fucking Great Gatsby themed party. Has he ever read The Great Gatsby? The only clip of this,
I don't think he's ever read anything. Are you kidding me?
The only clip of this that I could find was on Reddit. I'm sorry, it's 14. But it is like an incredibly lavish party. I'm sure it cost millions upon millions of dollars.
I can't believe we're going to
Reddit. Host. Look at this.
Jeez, old Pete. All right, hold on. Let me...
We don't have to watch this whole thing, but you know, that this is what he's doing with his time and money. It's like they're mocking us.
Wait, is this at like Mar-a-Lago or something?
I think it was at Mar-a-Lago, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It was at Mar-a-Lago. That's right.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't want to see their butts. Come on, get out of here. Jeez. This is incredible. Go ahead. I've got superficial takes on this. Go ahead, Cam. Give us some meat first.
I've been on a lot of podcasts over the last couple weeks, and one of the things that I've said that has really shocked some folks is I've said I do not think that Donald Trump is going to finish his term, and I said that at the beginning of this podcast, November of 2024 as well. Why do I think that? Obviously, everything Rebecca said is true, right? There are these ridiculous wars that are unfolding or continuing around the world. Just the latest one being Venezuela. But, you know, give the president time. Maybe there's another third world country he can invade in short order. Who knows? We've got massive financial problems. You know, I think the financial system is internally imploding for all kinds of reasons. We've talked about the social contract in the country. A lot of people, I would dare say, probably 75% of the country is hurting, and they're hurting very, very badly. All those problems are bad enough, but the fact of the matter is that the reason why this president is going to go down is because of carelessness. Most of my content is about masculinity, and masculinity is one of those things. It's sort of an abstract idea, but there is a certain there about it. And I think a film that illustrates masculinity in ways that a lot of people do not appreciate anymore, in part because we've sort of, changed as a country since it came out, but it's definitely The Godfather. And one of the more poignant scenes in The Godfather is when Marlon Brando, it's right before Marlon Brando, The Godfather, dies. He tells his son, and he's trying to coach him to get him ready to inherit this crime syndicate. Maybe similar conversations happened between Donald Trump and his father, God knows. But that aside, what Brando says in the film is he says, I've lived my life trying not to be careless. Women and children can be careless. Men cannot be careless. Donald Trump is careless. He's careless with how he conducts himself. He's careless with his tweets. He's careless with his ego. He's just careless. And that reminds me of a quote from The Great Gatsby, one of the fine American novels. And listen to what F. Scott Fitzgerald said. He said, they were careless people, Tom and Daisy. They smashed up things and creatures and then retreated back into their money or their vast carelessness or whatever it was that kept them together and let other people clean up the mess that they had made. Look, what we're seeing unfold in the White House is nothing less than a Shakespearean tragedy. It is an absolute tragedy. But there's something that's very good that's going to come out of all of this. And that is this myth that is promulgated across social media, especially on Twitter, that the people that orchestrate great power have at their disposal sort of instant gratification, right? That they surgically control the world. Listen, Shakespeare said it best, right? Within the hollow crown rounds the mortal temples of a king. All monarchies, all kings, all presidents are vulnerable. They're especially vulnerable the more power they have. And if they are careless with that power, if they don't dispense justice with their power, they tend to meet horrifyingly bad ends. In that video that you just watched, in the Rob Reiner tweet, in the entire conduct of public life that we've witnessed of Donald Trump, since he became a political figure, has he ever been somebody that was careful? No, he has been the opposite. And that is going to be his undoing. And I don't know if it's going to be a ridiculous war in Venezuela that gets a lot of people killed and he can't explain why. A betting man is probably going to say that's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be a financial catastrophe that's going to be blamed on him and he has no answers. I don't know if it's going to be some white American family that's murdered in a major city in this country by an illegal immigrant that he failed to do anything about because he was careless, because he virtue signals and he talks big. But if you check the details, it's a load of odorous excrement. He's going to go down because he's careless. And for you young men out there listening to what I'm saying, you cannot be careless. You cannot be careless with your language. You cannot be careless with your loved ones. You cannot be careless with your career. And you certainly cannot be careless with those in your charge. And as far as I can tell, in the entire biography of Donald Trump's life, there is a recurring theme of narcissistic carelessness that is straight out of the Great Gatsby. It is positively Shakespearean, and that is why he's going to fall.
Yeah, I think I could see it. I could see a number of different ways that this could go down. But
it is Shakespearean, isn't it?
Time will tell. It's tragic. It's really tragic. And it's really fucked up too that, pardon my French, I've got to work on the swearing. The Catholics, there's like a couple of like nice old ladies that watch the show and they're like, I love your show, but I wish you'd swear less. And it's like, okay, I'll work on that. Pardon me. But where was I going with that? Of course I just...
This could end in many ways.
Impeachment, yeah. I lost the train of thought. This is what happens
now might be a good time to
ADD.
talk about Venezuela. Do you want to pull up 18?
Well, hold on. Before we get to Venezuela, I did want to point out a couple of goofy, superficial things about this little interaction between Trump and Mark Levin. So, Mark Levin's pulling him close while he's like, oh, you're our first Jewish president. He's holding him real close, which is, by the way, very condescending to put your hand like that on a president.
Trump doesn't like it. Look at his face.
No. But what's so funny is that Trump starts talking about how the election was stolen, and Mark Levin literally puts distance between himself and Donald Trump. He's like, okay, never mind. So watch this real quick. This is funny.
We thank you for everything.
That's right. Bad things happened on the second one. Namely, the election was rigged. And we found out.
He's like,
you see that happening.
He's like,
And you
I don't know if I like this. Actually, please get away from me.
Yeah.
You know. And I also wanted to point out that in fact, Donald Trump is not the first Jewish president that we've ever had, and he's not the first Jewish president that's ever served 2 terms. The first Jewish president of the United States of America was Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and he served 3 terms, and he was a tyrant, and he led millions of young American white men, Catholics predominantly, to their slaughter in Europe in World War II. So this is not good. Can we please stop electing Jewish presidents? This is
vote harder, guys.
One other thing I want to say before we move on to Venezuela, and I heard this on Napolitano's show earlier, and I actually did not know this. You guys, being the informed politicos that you are, probably knew this, but I did not. Apparently, in 1963, President Truman submitted an editorial to the Washington Post in which he reproached himself for having authorized the creation of the CIA in 1947. And basically what he said, supposedly, because my understanding is that somebody cannexed that editorial, so it never actually went to market, is my understanding. In any case, what he said in the article basically is that if I had known that the CIA was just going to be a rogue agency that regime changed the world, I never would have authorized it. Listen, it was his job to know. It's your job to know. That's what the fucking president is supposed to do. That is unacceptable. Didn't you think you should ask any goddamn questions? And who does that sound like? Donald Trump.
Yep.
Do you think Donald Trump is in the White House asking why we're going into Venezuela, what the contingency plans are, what the risks to our forces are? Or is he too busy hobnobbing inside the White House with the Jewish power structure while men and women in uniform go over there for some bullshit war in which a lot of these people are going to get their limbs blown off or they're not going to come home at all? That is the job of the president. And I'm sad to say that our democratic experiment, if you want to call it that, our elites, the vanguard that is supposed to safeguard the system, they have been negligent. They haven't asked the hard questions. They were too busy getting rich, or they were too busy trying to go viral on fucking Twitter or whatever it was. And that is why we are in the position we're in, ladies and gentlemen. It's not some subterranean group. Like I said, it's not some shadowy elite or some untoward influence. It's negligence. It is exactly what you heard from Truman. Well, if I had known, it was your job to know. That's why you're the president. You're the chief executive. And the fact that Napolitano and Tucker and the rest of these people did not think to go that next step and say that illustrates exactly the problem. And of course, to bookend it, what Napolitano says, well, I wonder if we're even in a republic anymore. In a republic? What the hell are you even talking about? Where have you been? And I say this with all due respect, right? But these people are making references to precedent that has been irrelevant for the 3 of us our entire adult lives. We've never lived in a republic. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, to wake up and start to pay attention, because certainly our leaders are not going to do that. That's when things will change in this country.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And that reminds me of that thing that we just watched about Tucker Carlson, where he was like, we need our principles or else we'll be ruled by the mafia. Where have you been? Hello.
Yeah.
Do we know? Have we all forgotten about how Louis Rosenstein and Meyer Lansky blackmailed the FBI and effectively subsumed the intelligence agencies of the government? Like, we've been ruled by the mafia for 70 years.
Plus.
Are you kidding me?
Absolutely.
So anyway, sorry about that.
Let's pull up clip 18. This is Tucker on Judge Napolitano.
Clip 18.
Yeah, I put it at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
You're
doing
keep
it
going.
out of order. I got to keep
going.
scrolling. I'm
there
scrolling.
There
we
go.
go.
Clip 18.
Boom. Let's get this up.
Is Trump going to start a war in Venezuela?
I don't know. I don't know when this program airs. The one that we're on right now. This thing's maybe live.
Well, we're live now, and then
Okay.
it'll be posted immediately. So now,
my sense is I don't know the answer. I've certainly been on the phone a lot about it. I have no power. I'm a podcaster, but I'm very interested. And so here's what I know so far, which is that members of Congress were briefed yesterday that a war is coming, and it'll be announced in the address to the nation tonight at 9 o'clock by the president. Who knows, by the way, if that will actually happen? I don't know. And I never want to overstate what I know, which is pretty limited in general.
So I wonder if that's
that?
coming. I mean,
That'll be in a couple of hours.
A couple of hours. Yeah.
This supposed address to the nation. Is it going to be Venezuela? Is it going to be Iran? What are we doing?
Right.
And it's also funny to hear him say, "Oh, I've got no power. I'm just a podcaster." Bro, your dad ran the CIA's chief propaganda outlet.
And you're not just a podcaster.
He chose J.D. Vance. It was Tucker Carlson that went to Mar-a-Lago to convince Donald Trump to put J.D. Vance in as vice president. What do you mean you don't have power?
Right.
Fucking liar.
Also, if you have no power, then how are you getting this information?
Yeah, where are you getting you're getting this information from people in power that are giving it to you to disseminate, to change outcomes. What are you talking about?
This aired today. I encourage you guys to
Just a couple
watch it.
hours ago.
Just a couple of hours ago, yep.
And of course, this is happening on like a backdrop of our A+++++ economy.
Right. So while they're doing this, while they're having great Gatsby parties, while they're flexing that Israel runs our government and all of our institutions and our financial sector, and while they're talking about going to a war with a country that we virtually have no interest in, despite the protests of the American people, how are everyday Americans living? How are they living? Let's pull up clip 15. I haven't seen Frank Luntz in a long time.
Well, now we're going to see him.
A year ago, I was on your show. We talked about inflation. And I criticized those who use that word because the average American doesn't talk about inflation. That's an economist word. The average American talks about affordability or cost. Can I afford the food, the fuel, the housing, the health care? But there's something that's even more important. Half of Americans now live, and I quote, paycheck to paycheck. And how they define that is different. But these are people who have trouble paying their bills on a monthly basis. When half of Americans are saying that, that tells me that this economic insecurity and anxiety is real. And Andrew, let me give you 3 numbers behind this. 1/3 of Americans could not afford a cost, an unexpected health care cost of $5,000. And that's powerful. And when I know that half of Americans have trouble with their expenses, it goes from a concern to a crisis. And you'll notice that the number 1 issue is food. And the number 2 is food and fuel. And the number 2 issue is affordable health care. That's why this debate that's coming up in the Senate and the House is so important. And my warning to both political parties, if you don't figure out a way to make health care costs more affordable, the public is going to punish you 1 year from today.
He goes on to talk about whether or not an increase in wages would offset this scarcity economy and this financial anxiety that people are experiencing. And he says, no, who cares if your wages go up if you still are experiencing this anxiety where you can't make ends meet and you're still living paycheck to paycheck. And I think he's absolutely right. In the meantime, can you pull up 16? In the meantime, I sound like a socialist. I'm like, nobody should have this much money. Elon Musk, Forbes has just said, has become the first person ever worth $600 billion. $600 billion.
He's on the road to $1 trillion.
What were you telling me about SpaceX today?
Well, I don't know if I can get, I should have put it in the show notes. SpaceX more valuable. There was a tweet that was out. Yeah, here it is. From Value Equity, showing that SpaceX's new valuation, which is what, $800 billion? Holy shit. SpaceX is worth more than Raytheon, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, Northrop Grumman, and L3 Harris combined. And that is the entire security state. Like, you want to see like the deep state, that's it. Right there. Like, hello. And so now SpaceX is worth more than all of it combined. And now Elon, of course, because he owns shares in SpaceX, is, halfway to $1 trillion.
Yep. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
The cumulative estimate for what U.S. has sent to Israel is around $20 billion in 2025, and I'm sure it's more than that.
Oh, yeah.
Not to mention what we've wasted on Ukraine.
Oh, yeah.
What we're doing in Venezuela. Like, what are they doing? Can you imagine if these funds were reconfigured in such a way that they could help the American public that is struggling to buy food?
Yeah. What happened to
Struggling
Doge?
to buy food.
What happened to Doge? Where's the Doge cuts? Where's the tax rebate? Weren't we all supposed to get like a check in the mail for like $1,000 or $2,000? Like none of that's happening.
None of that's happening.
And even if it did happen, it would be bad if it happened. We're in a real catch-22 between the bond market, the actual value of the bond market being propped up versus our ability to do manufacturing and create jobs. I mean, like, we're on track to have one of the biggest waves of unemployment ever.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken.
And I'm still hearing from all of these boomers, not you, Mom and Dad, that are hanging on to their wealth with their cold, wrinkly fingers, telling all of the millennial, all Gen Xers, Gen Z, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I'm still hearing from them that this is our own fault, And we talked about this Substack a few weeks ago briefly, but I feel like we did not do it justice. And I wanted to hammer home some of the points that this guy made. This Substack is a life-changing read. It really is. It's called My Life is a Lie, How a Broken Benchmark Quietly Broke America. It's by Michael Green. I just want to read a little bit of it. He says, the U.S. poverty line is calculated as 3 times the cost of minimum food diet in 1963, adjusted for inflation. So this is from 1963. This woman that came up with this. She observed that families spent roughly 1/3 of their income on groceries. Since pricing data was hard to come by for many items, if you could calculate a minimum adequate food budget at the grocery store, you could multiply by 3 and establish a poverty line. She was drawing a floor, a line below which most families are clearly in crisis. For 1963, that made sense because housing was cheap. A family could rent a decent apartment or buy a home on a single income. A family could, healthcare was provided by employers and cost relatively little. Blue Cross coverage averaged $10 a month. Childcare didn't really exist as a market because mothers stayed home. Families helped, or neighbors who likely had somebody home watch each other. Kids, cars were affordable. With few luxury frills, the neighborhood kids could fix most problems when they did. College tuition could be covered with a summer job. Retirement meant a pension income, not a pile of 401k assets you had to fund yourself. So this is a crisis threshold, but everything has changed between 1964 and 2024. Housing costs exploded, healthcare exploded, employer coverage shrank, while deductibles grew, childcare became a market, and that market became ruinously expensive. College went from affordable to crippling. Transportation costs rose as cities sprawled. Public transit withered under government neglect. The labor model shifted. A second income became mandatory to maintain the standard of living. The composition of household spending transformed completely. In 2024, food at home is no longer 33% of household spending. For most families, it's 5 to 7%. And they're still using this measure for the poverty line. Housing now consumes 35 to 45%. Healthcare 15 to 25%. Unreal. Childcare can eat 20 to 40%. So by this woman that made that measure, by her logic, if you maintain her principle that poverty could be defined by the inverse of food budget share, but update the food share to reflect today's reality, the multiply is no longer 3, it becomes 16. So the threshold for a family of 4 wouldn't be $31,000. It would be somewhere between $130,000 and $150,000. She was identifying crisis, not sufficiency. If the crisis threshold, the floor below which families cannot function, is honestly updating to current spending patterns, it lands on $140,000. So what does that tell you about the $31,000 line that we still use? It tells you that we are literally measuring starvation. We're measuring starvation. And that's what we're doing. This is not a crisis level. It's destitution. It is absolute poverty. $140,000.
Yeah.
To not have any financial anxiety, major financial anxiety. I shouldn't say any. And that's really what we're looking at. And I feel like people are not properly talking about this.
No, they're not. And it's, it's funny. We mentioned this on the show a couple of weeks ago. I hit up the food banks every now and again. We got a nice house, but, you assholes don't super chat nearly enough at the backlash.net/super chat. I'm kidding. But, being self-employed and all that, I mean, it's difficult, and I got canceled from my job, political consulting. I got canceled from the job at the Idaho Freedom Foundation. So yeah, I'll hit up a food bank every now and again. And it's like you show up at the food banks and you got people in Tesla Model Ys.
Yeah.
I got one in front, one behind, a Tesla Model 3, and we're all sitting there waiting to get, a load of, corn or whatever it is thrown in the trunk of the car. And it's like, in what society is somebody driving around in a brand new leased Tesla going to a food bank? The level of poverty that we have in our heads versus what's actually going on and what struggle actually looks like in this world is very different.
Yes, absolutely.
Very different.
Look, a couple things here. One is a data point I know is going to blow Dave's mind. He probably already knows this because he's a smart guy. But the price to earnings ratio of Walmart is double that of NVIDIA. Now, what does that mean exactly? Let me unpack this for a moment. A lot of the sort of mega stores where you go and you can buy everything are getting crushed, as are a lot of fast food places, some of the grocery stores. But Walmart is doing really well. Why is that? Walmart is doing really well because even wealthier people are going to Walmart. Even your upper crust income levels, people that should not need to go to Walmart to buy groceries or clothing or God knows what have you, are going to Walmart. That's one data point. The other, there was an article that came out, maybe you can find it, Dave. It was in the FT, the Financial Times. Rising graduate joblessness is mainly affecting men. Now, this is a theme that we've talked about for a long time, but this is pretty striking because you're beginning to see a lot of this come out of the mainstream as well. Well, apparently, recent employment data shows that whether you went to college or not, your employment prospects are the same. They're both bad. And there are a couple terms that describe this sort of festering phalanx of young men. One comes from England. The term is NEET, not in education, not in employment, not in training. And in the United States, we've used for a long time, no incomes, no jobs, no assets, ninjas. You have a large percentage of the young male population, whether they're college graduates or not, that have no social upward mobility either. So in addition to families that are struggling, whether they make $100,000 a year or not, that are, taking the family out to McDonald's, maybe they're buying clothing at Walmart, or maybe they're, taking a trip every now and again to a food bank. Now, the sort of future wealth earners of the country, men that are just entering the workforce out of college, so these are presumably higher performing men, they're screwed too. They can't get jobs. So all of this is to say, folks, this is an emergency. It is. It is an emergency. And the only thing that's propped the whole damn thing up is more and more government spending, which, as we've alluded to for a long time, there's a law of diminishing returns there. And now if the government hands you a check, well, that's a thankless gift because that check is just going to jack up the price of whatever you're trying to buy with that money, right? The money is going to precipitously lose its value. This is the feedback loop that we're in. And I just have to say, and I suppose the motif of this program has been, I don't get the sense that people in power understand this. I really don't. Do you? I don't.
They don't. They don't. And we're starting to see people tweeting about it now, like Elon Musk is tweeting about it, but like, what's he actually doing? Right? He's been tweeting about white people and the persecution of young white males and how young white males have been systematically excluded from the jobs market, which is true. That's what started in, like, was it 2014 or whatever, when they just stopped hiring white guys at all of these different places. But what are they doing? They're loading up on H-1Bs.
I think they know this because they methodically review polling data. So they must have some sense that this is an important issue that's affecting people, but they are failing to do anything about it because of their self-interest. That's why they're doing H-1Bs, and because they have no allegiance to white people.
True. Yeah.
Cameron's shaking his head.
If you guys don't watch much mainstream news, I do. Because I'm a normie boomer. Just kidding. I watch a lot of mainstream media, largely financial media, and I'm telling you, Rebecca, they don't know. They don't
How
know.
is that even possible, though?
It's possible for a number of reasons. Some of it is an ideological narcotic. A lot of these people, look, they live in a very naive world. I mean, and I'm not trying to beat up on Tucker Carlson. I think more favorably of him than you guys do. That there's a subtle difference there. But I heard Tucker Carlson, and I like Napolitano too. But Tucker Carlson said, "Well, I don't exactly know why Lindsey Graham, supports bombs away in Iran or what have you." I don't know if you guys picked up on that. He's like, "Oh, he's a really charming guy." What? What are you talking about? Lindsey Graham's a criminal. He's a fucking criminal.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, how many people's deaths are on his head? How much blood is on his hands? He and John McCain and all the rest that have pushed war after war, intervention after intervention. And so, you hear things like that from Tucker Carlson, or like I said, Napolitano, do we live in a republic? I mean, come on, man. This is an expression, Rebecca, of what I'm saying is that some of these people that are supposedly at the vanguard of truth, Napolitano has a YouTube channel, almost 1 million people subscribe to it. Okay. How many people follow Tucker Carlson? Millions, right? These people should know. Now, I don't happen to believe, and maybe this is naivete on my part, that they're lying when they say they don't know. I don't think they really know. And I think that goes to the whole cast of the elites in this country, or again, the elites in name only, the people that have their hands on the levers of power. This is why the situation is so dangerous. And that's why something bad is going to happen. I don't know what it's going to be or when exactly it's going to happen, but that is my fear. And I think it is particularly acute when it comes to these financial matters, because there's so many analysts that you can find that come out of the big banks, that come out of Wall Street, that are on CNBC, that are saying, oh, the economy is great, AI is going to change everything. And look, meanwhile, we went through the statistics. They are Great Depression level bad. That's how bad they are.
Can somebody please let Judge, here, maybe I'll do this. Judge Napolitano. In fact, we do not live in a republic. We live in a Jewish oligarchy. Thank you for your attention in this matter. Hello, where are we at? We don't live in a republic. We don't live in a this is one of the things that guy from Rasmussen Polling is talking about, is it's like, you can go to the polling, you can go and you can look and you can see what young people want. You can see what Trump voters want over and over again. And it's like, they're not responsive to the people at all. And it's not just America, it's the entire West. It's France, it's Germany, it's England, it's Ireland. They're just flooding the zone. And it's not for anyone's benefit but theirs.
That's right, David. One thing about Frank Luntz, so, I sent that clip over because I think it's a powerful clip, in part because if you listen to the interlocutors, right, against mainstream, I think CNBC, they're sort of aghast at what he's saying. But his words, not mine. This is what he said in the interview. He said, the public is going to punish you. The public is going to punish you. That is a phrase, ladies and gentlemen, that is pregnant with meaning. And that is the backlash. That's why we call the show The Backlash. There is a backlash that's coming. Now, the question is, who's the public? Now, we think it's us. We think it's the ethnos, the white Christian population that's going to surge to the forefront. This is the thesis, the premise of the show. It's going to manifest in a punishment because the elites have lost the plot. That is what's going on, as far as I can tell. And Frank Luntz did a good job explaining that. And remember, that if you go back 10 years when Donald Trump was running for president and he was summarily dismissed, maybe not in your circles. Again, you guys were more plugged into a lot of things back then than most, but I was in DC at the time. Absolutely nobody thought Donald Trump was going to get elected. But if you go back and you watch Frank Luntz's commentary, he was polling people and he said the anger in this country is ferocious. And specifically, he was talking about the anger at Hillary Clinton. And I remember distinctly watching the fallout after, I think it was the second debate between Trump and Hillary Clinton. And I'm sure you guys both remember it better than I do, when Trump called out Bill Clinton for being a serial rapist on national television. And the energy for Trump just exploded. Well, we're going to go to that next level. But this time, the whole damn system is going to go down. That's what Luntz is telling you, and he's right.
Daddy's angry. That's what everybody's saying in the live chat.
Daddy Cameron.
Daddy's angry. I'm scared.
That's funny.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, and I guess it's going to be one of two things, right? It's either going to be the scenario that you laid out, where it's going to be the white ethnos that, rises up and does something to punish the elite, or it's going to be these commies, these crazy democratic socialist types. I heard recently that there is a lot of talk and trainings that are being organized for a general strike on May 1st, either 2026 or 2027. I don't know if either of you guys have seen that, but apparently in those circles, the AOC circles, the DSA circles, all of these pro-Palestine type people, there's a difference between our version of, no more bombing in Palestine, and then these freaks that are like down in Boise doing the Palestine activism or whatever. Those people are communists. Those people are the ones cheering on Luigi Mangione and the murder of Charlie Kirk. Those people are planning something big for 2026. And it could be crazy. Could be bad. Don't know. It's wild. Absolutely wild.
I think we got time for my rant, the segment nobody asked for and people don't really like, but I'm going to keep doing it.
Daddy wants to hear the rant.
Hold on, let me get it pulled up. Very good, very nice. Let's see.
Scroll down. Down.
Look at all these charts that we didn't get to.
I know.
Really? We didn't even really get into Venezuela. Or I guess we did a little bit.
We did a little bit.
We have to wait to see what happens with Trump. But here we go.
I always have to pinch my cheeks because I know that our clip guy takes my rants. And so I got to make sure I can't wear my glasses anymore. I can't wear my glasses anymore in case this gets clipped. I want to talk about moral confusion today. So when people perceive that society lacks clear norms or rules or traditions, sociologists describe this as a state of anomie or normlessness. This perception often arises during periods of economic instability, cultural shifts, breakdown in shared values. Individuals feel atomized. They're disconnected from collective guidelines that typically provide structure and purpose. Uncertainty about expected behavior makes daily life for average individuals unpredictable. As a result, they're lonely, anxious, and vulnerable to nihilism, substance abuse, suicide, deviance, sexual, criminal, otherwise, becomes more common. The law begins to break down as it reflects this deviance, and chaos ensues. Of course, all the things that we talk about on this show evidence that we are in the midst of this. Gallup's 2023 data showed that 22% of Gen Z identifies as LGBTQ. We're witnessing an era where victims of sexual violence that defend themselves are charged as perpetrators. Substance abuse and overdoses are epidemic. The current U.S. suicide rate is 34% higher than it was just in 2001. Last year, 1.1 million babies were aborted in the United States. All of this contributes to perceptions of widespread moral confusion. During periods of anomie caused by rapid social change, such as swift technological progression, an organic solution usually emerges, which is mutual reliance on one another for survival, and that creates a sense of community. But without a sense of ethics, you cannot participate in this camaraderie. Being untrustworthy becomes a barrier to inclusion. When the moral confusion is the result of myriad social and cultural issues as we're experiencing now, the solution is so much more complicated. So today, most communities would not be able to organically rehabilitate as dueling racial allegiances prevent the creation of high trust fiefdoms even. And further, a relief from economic woes is not on the horizon, as we just discussed, which would lessen the intensity of this moral confusion. In many cases in history, the reaction to such situations has been swift authoritarian pushback, seizing power and establishing a set of shared morals that are strictly enforced. Half measures, such as prohibition, seem to yield little lasting success. Regimes will define a singular truth or moral code, eliminating relativism and providing citizens with a sense of purpose and belonging. This reduces confusion by channeling individual anxieties into collective loyalty, and this is key. They appeal to tradition and enforce moral codes. The problem with this is when authoritarian rule creates a superficial social norm or just a facade of moral duty. It must be rooted in truth and truly supported by the people for any lasting change to occur. Otherwise, dissent creeps in and institutions are taken back, and then the cycle continues. Before we can hope for such a change to take place, we have to have a strong identity and sense of shared morality already in place. Ultimately, true and lasting resolution to moral confusion demands not just the imposition of authoritarian order. I'm kind of advocating for authoritarianism light, right? Like get our guy in and then he can reign with impunity. But a grassroots renewal of shared values rooted in mutual trust, personal responsibility, and a collective commitment to timeless truths. Only then can society emerge from anomie with genuine cohesion rather than fragile control. And to be clear, I'm not against authoritarianism. I'm really not, because I don't see a way that we can return to this sense. I know Catholicism might be a way.
Well, I mean, you could also, but I mean, at the same time, like, look at what happened in Spain, right? I've been like neck deep in the Spain stuff since Charlie got shot. And what you're describing there is precisely what Franco was able to do.
Yes.
And Jose Primo de Rivera and the Falangist movement and all of this. I'm probably saying that wrong. Falange, I don't know. But yeah, that's what they did, you know. And
but
so
enforcement in the absence of a pre-existing belief system and some sense of collectivism, which needs to be racial unity, it's superficial. It will fall apart. It's a facade. There needs to be something more. And so our job, while we're waiting for this authoritarian rule to come sweep us to safety, is to really establish that sense of unity. And it has to be racial, and I think it also has to be spiritual, whatever that means.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely like also this concept. There's the concept of race as a physical property, the phenotype, right?
Right.
But I'm definitely a little bit of a spiritual racist too.
Yeah.
You know, like
So am I, yeah.
you know, and it's funny because like among my friends, most of my friends are either Catholic, Orthodox, or some sort of Reformed Protestant. But it, you know, it's always so interesting because it's like you can definitely tell that there's like a spiritual kindred there that other people don't have. You know, and so it's not just like a skin deep thing. It's also there's a transcendental thing.
It's
there
the racial spirit.
Too. Yeah, yeah. Good rant.
Thank you.
4 steps. I thought it was very good, Rebecca. Very, very good.
Thank you.
4 steps. The problem is the solution. The problem is the solution. And in that sense, we're ahead of the game because our problems are metastasizing everywhere. And yeah, it's painful, but awakening is spreading and it's beginning to achieve virality. That's number 1. Number 2 is a vision for what to do. And at this stage, we can only outline, right? We can only sketch in broad terms, but we know that we need a new movement. And again, just to reemphasize what Frank Luntz said, because we didn't play the whole clip, he said that the public is angry at both parties. They are. They've had it with the Republicans, the Democrats, right? It doesn't much matter, and it hasn't for a long time. That is the pretext for something new. So we're going to have a national movement and some kind of mass mobilization. And we have talked about the nature of that on this program. At a minimum, it has to include three things. It has to include race realism and racial nationalism. It has to include an awareness of the JQ. That's number two, or number one, depending on how you want to structure it. And number three is that the democratic system as structured is done. That is sort of lending itself to a vision of, okay, we got to mass mobilize and we've got to congeal around those three things. The third is a vanguard. And while we don't have a vanguard yet, we do have what Eric Hoffer called men of words. That's what a lot of these people are. You know, Candace and Tucker and Fuentes and a whole lot of them have done collectively very good work. They have raised awareness on a lot of core issues like the JQ, like Zionism, like open borders, right? Or white consciousness. These people and more, there's a whole Twitter universe of them, have done excellent work at sort of raising the animal spirits. That's the beginnings of a vanguard. We're going to get there. We're not there yet. And 4 is the implementation. Those are the steps, right? The problem is the solution. Number 1. Number 2 is a vision. Number 3 is the vanguard or the reconstruction team. And number 4 is the implementation. And the last 2 steps are going to be very difficult. They're going to be precarious, but an opportunity will come. And provided we have the wherewithal as a people to set aside the grifters and the phonies and the charlatans, we'll get there. And we will have a kind of Meiji restoration in which we reset the country. That is absolutely possible. And just to button it up, look, having been to some countries like China, for example, that went through a hellacious 2-century-long period, things started to turn around when they got good leadership at the top. That's all it takes. You have one national leader that just has a competent set of people around him and a clear vision, then you're off to the races. That's all it's going to take, folks, because the rest of you in the audience, you know what the hell is going on. I know that you do. I've spoken to many of you, as has Rebecca and Dave. Look at how far you've come, and others will follow. It's just about that last step. It's about getting that leadership that's going to start tilting us in the right direction. And then who knows, in 10 years or 20 years, we could be in an entirely different world. And I think that's where we're headed. I really do, which is why this is not a program about blackpilling. Yeah, we're going to go into the shit. It's coming. But we're going to pull ourselves out of it. We will, provided we have the will to do so. That is the key.
True.
Thank you, Cameron.
So true.
Should we let him go to bed?
Yeah. Cam, if you want to go to bed, we will.
We are not grifters over here.
Rebecca is very clever. She likes to sort of assert her dominance over me by sending me to bed. This is how women are, folks. They're very clever. They're subtle. They infantilize you in ways that you can't necessarily pick up right away.
You immediately picked up on it, though. Listen, none of my normal feminine wiles work on Cameron.
I've been exposed. Hey, I'm 40 years old, man. I've been exposed to this crap.
All right.
Anyway, Daddy can stay up for a few super chats. And then he's
okay, cool.
Go.
I was going to say, Cam, we got to like fly you up here and get you to like bitch slap her. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No.
Hey, before we move on to the super chats, I do want to give a reminder that we are doing a Backlash Christmas giveaway. Submissions are now open. This is the actual page. You know, we're giving away a copy of The Culture of Critique by Kevin McDonald, a 12-ounce bag of Above Time Coffee Roasters coffee, and a 4-ounce bar of North Idaho Tallow soap. All you got to do is send us your social security number, your address, that we can then forward along to the CIA, and we will send you one of these prizes. And it's very good. This stuff smells really good. The Hagalaz medium roast and a paperback version of The Culture of Critique and soap. So anyway, please, if you haven't already, go to thebacklash.net/giveaway and get signed up to win. And we will be announcing the winners on Christmas Eve. We'll be doing a Christmas Eve show. So that will be a good time. Let me get to also, speaking of financial collapse.
It looks like Rebecca is reading some interesting super chats.
She is looking at furniture.
No, I'm not.
You totally are. You totally are.
No, I just pulled up a tab. If you must know, I have to have all of my tabs organized because I'm doing a house remodel that is very stressful right now.
Yeah.
So today we're getting our floors redone. We're all living in a single room, sleeping in the same bed.
Trees are falling on your head.
God, I was like, is the show even going to happen? So I'm organizing my tabs so that I can read super chats. That's not furniture. It's wallpaper, by the way.
It's wallpaper. Ooh, that's very traditional. Very trad.
Very
Having some
trad.
wallpaper. Speaking of trad, is gold and silver. It never goes out of style. It gives a jingle in your pocket, keeps your wealth safe. You want to go to atlasbullion.com/backlash to get yourself financially secure. You can buy gold and silver. They've got plans starting as low as $55 a month for silver, $200 a month for gold. And of course, you can call Kenzie, arrange bigger purchases. You know, hey, look, if you buy like $500,000 worth of gold, she'll like fly out to you. She'll bring it to you. So
Dave's wife the other day, can I tell this story?
I don't know. I don't know where you're going with this.
Dave's wife the other day was like, can I talk to you? And she's like, I think that you should do some of the ad reads because people hate Dave. And so I think they're not buying stuff because Dave's doing the ad reads. I'm like, people must know that the money is split amongst us, right? And she's like, I don't know, but I think you should take over some of the ad reads.
Well, here, why don't you do this one? You can talk about Talos.
I don't have the script.
Make it up. That's what I do.
Idaho, seriously? You read the same thing.
Well, I read it for like a couple of months and then you memorize it.
Idaho Tallow has.
I don't accept the premise of that statement. I disagree. Because I do read the comments not as faithfully as you do, Rebecca. But no, Dave's gaining momentum. Every show that we do, he is.
I'm also gaining momentum on X, by the way. I don't know if you've seen, but this week I had a couple of bangers. Derek Evans came out and said the federal government has lost 271,000 workers since President Trump took office. I said, I heard it was 6 million.
You can't help yourself.
I can't help myself. Look at this. 291,000 views, 20,000 likes.
You will get a check for $20 for that one.
I am absolutely going to take Elon Musk's money for that tweet. And it's very funny too, like watching all of like the people that just got red pilled in like the last 6 months going, I see what you did there. And I'm like, all right, log off, Goyim. Log off.
Dave is also very adept at transitioning into an ad read.
I know. I'm like, how am I going to take over? Dave's natural chewiness makes his transition to ad read so seamless. Like I can't hold a candle to you with your greasy hair and your fingers.
So, but you see, Melissa, if you're watching this, objection overruled.
I don't want to do it.
If you do have greasy skin, you know what it really takes is a nice bar of soap from idahotallow.com. That will get rid of your greasy skin. It'll help if you have other conditions that I'm legally not allowed to talk about because of the FDA and they suck, but they've got soaps, balms, and lip balm, and candles now. Soy-free, all-natural candles that smell excellent. They smell delicious, but you shouldn't eat them. Don't eat the candles. Don't eat the soap.
If we have to tell our audience not to eat soap and candles, then maybe she's right that they aren't buying just because you're doing the ad reads.
It's like butter, man. It just flows from the tongue. Dave. You were born to read ads. What can I say?
I know. It's my birthright. I was promised 6 million ads. Dude, did you hear, by the way, Nick Fuentes, I think somebody just reached out to him to give him a sponsorship, his first sponsorship, and it's a gold company.
Oh, really?
They're going to pay him $1 million.
He's just getting his first sponsorship now?
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
Bro, he is a powerhouse.
Good for him.
Unbelievable. And I was just like, take the money.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Take the money, sell gold, do it. Join us, Nick. Join those of us who have to rely on sponsors. It's not as bad as you think.
No, it's great.
Okay, Queensboro Bridge Enjoyer sent $10. One day, blondes increase the cleavage advocacy will be viewed in the same as William Jennings Bryan's Cross of Gold speech in altering United States history. Cleavage to the nipple now, cleavage to the nipple tomorrow, cleavage to the nipple forever.
Yeah, totally.
I'm not sure. Is that? I don't think that's a simp alert. I think that was a viable comment.
I think so. I think you're right.
You
Absolutely.
know, men that like breasts over ass have fewer misogynistic tendencies.
Really?
No.
Where do you come up with this stuff, man?
I was wrong. It's men that like asses over breasts.
What?
Yeah.
You like unironically just like sit on PubMed and read random shit all the time.
I do.
That's crazy.
I really
Wait,
do.
men who what is it? Men who prefer the
Ass
derriere
men
to
have fewer misogynistic tendencies. Hold on.
Oh my
fewer.
gosh. This is the
Men
only
that
show.
like boobs versus butts and misogynistic
tendencies.
NCBI.
I'm exhilarated by this.
I
Exhilarated.
am. I love doing research.
This is the only like Wignat talk show. This is the only right-wing talk show where you can get like the collapse of finance
Research,
and
I know, and
research on butts versus boobs.
Research published in NCBI index journals indicate that men who prefer larger breasts are more likely to hold sexist attitudes and to objectify evidence.
But so it has nothing to do with butts.
Erroneous on both counts.
So if you like big boobs, you're a misogynist?
I guess
woman wrote that. A woman wrote that. I guarantee it. A woman with small tits wrote that. Pardon me. Didn't mean to go there.
Having
Anyway.
been on both sides of that, I can say that that's probably true. Yeah.
Queensboro Bridge Enjoyer sent $10. Speaking of Miami Vice, has anyone watched the 2006 Cocaine Cowboys documentary? The origin of the modern concealed carry movement related to Mariel Boatlift and the basis for George Borges' econ studies on immigration are on full display.
No.
I am lost. Cameron's
seen it?
Cameron seems like
I'm familiar with it. I haven't seen it, but I know of the documentary. Yeah, it's from what I gather, it's a good one.
Yeah, I've heard of it. It was all
Miami was, I mean, watch Miami Vice. It's worth watching because it's dramatized, but what went on in Miami in the 80s, during the epoch of Scarface, that was a crazy time. And basically what it was is the United States being exposed to Latin America, right? Because that's how it is down there. So yeah, it's worth watching. And also to understand that Florida in particular is a very corrupt state in the union. I'm not saying it's as corrupt as California or New York, but it's not far behind, right? And who has a very lavish property not all that far from Miami? Our president. So think about that.
And Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
A lot of CIA activity when it comes to cocaine smuggling. And also, wasn't there a guy that was involved in the Oklahoma City bombing that was like, he would fix up boats or something? He would fix up boats for CIA drug running between Florida and Cuba.
I have no
and
idea.
I think he left like a cache of weapons and money. And then Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols like broke into his apartment and stole it and then used that money as the foundation for what they were doing.
Really?
Yeah, it's in Dr. Wendy Painting's book, Aberration in the Heartland of the Real. I haven't finished reading that yet, by the way.
What's it called, Dave?
Aberration in the Heartland of the Real. It's
Aberration in the Heartland of the Real.
Hold on, let me pull it up on the screen. It's an incredible book. Everybody's got to do it. We haven't done an Oklahoma City bombing episode yet. Aberration in the Heartland Real.
Hey, Dan Bongino resigned.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I heard about that.
I just saw
this book, absolutely fantastic read. Aberration in the Heartland of the Real by Dr. Wendy Painting. She is working on a follow-up to this right now. She's on Twitter. I forget what her ad is. Boobs. Look at that. Sydney Sweeney. Very nice. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. She is working on a follow-up about that kind of brings everything together. The octopus murders, the Oklahoma City bombing, domestic Gladio, all of it. Very interesting book. You got to read it. And she makes the case that Tim McVeigh was sheep-dipped and, working on behalf of the government. Very, very good book. Anyway.
They're just the best boobs I've
You're
ever
just
seen.
like staring at Sydney Sweeney's boobs.
I don't know what to tell you.
What are you doing?
They're just fantastic.
She's from Spokane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get her on the show sometime.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Well, you know who we are going to get on the show? James Fishback.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he DM'd me back last night. There's been a lot of discussion in the space about James Fishback, whether or not he's the real deal or if he's, a covert agent.
We're going to ask some hard-hitting questions. Do you know who else we are getting on the show?
Thomas Rousseau, I think. We got a tweet up about that, too. Sorry, we're taking too long. We can banter more when Cameron's gone to bed. Sorry. The Orthodox are sent $10. I just want to say I love you all.
Away.
Especially Dave, who gets so much hate. Cameron, do you have any estimate when the Russia-Ukraine war will end?
Yeah, really.
It's funny you should mention that. I had a good conversation with somebody about that earlier today. It seems as though the answer to that question is when the financial mess that I've been predicting for some time really starts to take hold in Europe, because it seems as though this is maybe one thing, I suppose, you might be able to give Donald Trump a little bit of credit for. At least he hasn't jumped on the grenade. He's kept the grenade in place, but he hasn't sprinted into the grenade that is Ukraine. But the Europeans are going full bore, trying to provoke an escalation and to bait the United States to jump on this grenade that is Ukraine. But they're besieged domestically by all kinds of problems that are beginning to compound. In fact, you guys didn't see this because you don't follow the UK political scene as much, but you'll be able to find it, Dave, if you search for it. Keir Starmer was out in public and tried to go into a pub and was chased out and harangued by the pub owner. And I think his days are numbered.
Oh, this was back in 2021, though, wasn't it? Remember?
No. What I saw.
This happened
maybe
again.
I'm wrong.
Here, hold on. Let's play the clip.
Again.
Let me play the clip because there's video.
I could be wrong.
Get out of my pub. Go on.
Oh yeah, no. I guess you're right.
My pub.
Yeah. So I was fooled. Oh, there you go. Fake
Eat
news.
shit,
Folks.
Keir. But yeah,
Keir Starmer is in trouble. Notwithstanding my error, but
I was going to say, it is interesting because the COVID thing went like straight into the war in Ukraine, basically seamlessly. It was like the day COVID ended, the war in Ukraine began. And so I could see that. I could see that like there's going to be whatever the next crisis is, that will happen, and then we'll just seamlessly hand the baton. And it seems like it's just like one group of money launderers passing the baton. Like you get 2 years with it, then you get 2 years with it, and on we go. It's just
in any case, I'll just say three things about when the war is going to end, and we can move on. First step is that the regime in Kiev under Zelensky falls. And I think that that's close. Of course, we've been hearing that for some time, and I'm not an expert on the Zelensky regime, so let me be very clear about that. But whenever that regime goes, that's step one. Step two is when one of the triumvirate pushing the war, so that's Macron, Merz, and Starmer, when one or multiples of those three go down in Europe, and as I said, I think that's close at hand. That's step two. And then step three, it's going to be when the United States just sort of throws up its hands and says, okay, I'm done. I'm out. And I think that's close at hand, too. I mean, if you read the 28-point plan, it was just a joke, right? It's a joke. So I think, we're going to be distracted in Venezuela, domestically and otherwise, but those are the three conditions that must obtain. Then you're going to get some kind of a new security arrangement, architecture, and hopefully that will bring an end to the conflict. So that's my answer.
And a new president of Ukraine, because Zelensky's got to go. The people don't want him.
That's what I mean. The regime in Kiev has to fall.
Yes, absolutely.
That's step one. That is the precondition for the other two. But the other two conditions, if they're met, that'll be the end of it. Yeah. That'll be it'll be over completely.
Yeah, I agree. All right, here we go. Book Track Grooves sent $10. A question for you all. A question for all. Are you supersessionists? Do you believe that there are Old Testament prophecies that have yet to be fulfilled? If yes, which ones? That's a good question. I actually kind of tweeted about this a little bit earlier today, in an oblique kind of a sense, in that, and talk about awareness getting raised. This one went pretty viral too. I mean, I guess 8,000 likes is viral for me, but
nerd.
It is a mortal sin for Catholics to participate in Jewish religious ceremonies. And I was saying this, of course, about J.D. Vance and his participation in the menorah lighting at his house over the week. But if you look at what the church fathers have all said, they talk about participating in Jewish festivals as a disease. Like, are you kidding me? We are Israel. So this is St. Augustine explains why Christians, not the Jews, are the true Israel. So you can read all of this. This, of course, comes from American Reform on Twitter and on Substack. And also, if you look at, I think I posted it, there was a short piece from Mystici Corporis, which is the great encyclical of Pope Pius XII about the mystical body of Christ. He said, by the death of our Redeemer, the New Testament took the place of the old law, which has been abolished. On the gibbet of his death, Jesus made void the law with its decrees and fastened the handwriting of the Old Testament to the cross, establishing the New Testament in his blood shed for the whole human race. And that there was effected a transfer from the law to the gospel, from the synagogue to the church. So the Catholic Church is supersessionist, absolutely, 100%. Now, whether or not there's another kind of angle on this, which is preterism, partial preterism, full preterism, or no preterism, and that's the idea that there are prophecies that have yet to be fulfilled. And the Catholics anyway, are partial preterists. We believe that most of the prophecies in the Old Testament have been fulfilled. Like when Jesus in Matthew 24 is talking about, the time will be nigh, and one will be in the field, and one will be taken, and one will be at home, and one will be taken, all that kind of stuff. When you see the signs, flee to the hills, et cetera, that was prophesying the destruction of Jerusalem by Titus in 70 AD. So that's already happened. There's like some stuff which hasn't happened yet, and that would be the very esoteric, weird stuff in Apocalypse or Revelation, like the opening of the seven seals and the four horsemen of the apocalypse, like all of this weird symbolic stuff that no one knows. So, but the point is that most, at least from a Catholic perspective, most of this stuff has already been done, and Protestants love to take Bible prophecy and twist it and warp it to fit their political needs. So be careful of that. Mm-hmm. Anyone want to add?
Sure don't.
Okay. Sure don't. Okay, great. Tomahawk sent $10. Shout out to Idaho Tallow. Placed an order with them last week, and for the first time ever, my bank sent me a warning of potential fraudulent activity with my card. LOL, you guys must be doing something right. Well, that's not good. We'll need to make sure that that is all well and fine. But yeah, everybody, I talked with them earlier today. If you ordered something for Christmas, I believe all of the time-sensitive Christmas orders have gone out and should reach their destinations for the big day. But obviously, if you're trying to order Christmas presents at this point,
you're too late.
You're too late. Tyler Hagginson sent $10. Thanks, buddy. That's awesome.
Thanks. We appreciate it.
Book Track Roof sent another $10. Did you watch Steven Crowder's interview with Nick? How would you explain identity politics? David and Cameron really need to show this in a theological way for Bible readers. Cameron?
I didn't watch it, did you?
I watched it. Yeah. I watched it with Vince.
I didn't see it. You're gonna have to address that one, Dave. I didn't see it.
Well, I mean, how do you explain identity politics? I mean, all politics is identity politics, right? It's like you get gassed up and you identify as a Republican, and it's the Republicans versus the Democrats, and it's your identity versus theirs. All politics is identity politics.
Mm-hmm.
What we are advocating for is identity politics based on your heritage, on your race, on your religion. That's, I think, where the key distinction is, and your identity as an American. And that's, I guess, contested. But yeah, go ahead, Cameron.
If you look at social surveys, there's a lot of data that's been done on this. I mentioned the Substack before. Arctotherium has done a lot of work in various ways, collating data that shows conclusively that different racial groups in the United States cluster around different values. I know, you're shocked. I was too. What is this thing called democracy, right? Individualism, limited government, constitutionalism, the principles, as Mr. Carlson calls them. George Frost Kennan, who I think was probably the best diplomat the United States has ever had, I think he said, you have to double check me, but I think he said that democracy, or I don't like that term either because it's such a vague term. Greek democracy was certainly different than the democracy we have today. The founding fathers in particular liked democracy. They wanted republicanism, but let's just say, voting for your leaders, a constraint by law on government, res public, right? For the public, that sort of thing. George Frost Kennan said that a democracy is a form of government that is unique to the peoples of the North Sea Basin. Now, I wouldn't particularly go that far. I would say that it is a European phenomenon. But what you hear from boomers, not just boomers, but a lot of your sort of good-intentioned libertarian types, let's be more charitable and call it that, they believe that democracy is a universal paradigm, right? It is not. There's no evidence of that at all. What there is evidence for is that democracy or limited government, res public, as I said, is an epigenetic phenomenon that resides in polises dominated by white European peoples. Okay, that means that you cannot have a society rooted in those principles that isn't demographically dominated by European peoples. And what do you know? As the United States has lost its national identity rooted in that demography, our principles, our sense of democracy has also eroded. And we increasingly look a lot less like our European white forebears and a lot more like our non-white demographic replacement. That is identity politics. The idea that ultimately the government and the political structure reflects the population, not the other way around. That is what we're advocating on this program. It does not mean tribalism per se. It means that political structures and so forth reflect the dominant demographic, which means you have to have a dominant demographic. We don't have that anymore. And that's why the democratic system has broken down. And in order to resuscitate it or to revitalize the republic, you have to restore that demographic balance, period. And the evidence for that, as I said, is overwhelming. It's practically categorical.
I was going to say, for those of you that want to have an ideology that's at least up to date in 2015, if you want to update your firmware, you can go read Hans Hermann Hoppe's book, Democracy, the God That Failed. And you can get some sense of what, Cameron is talking about here. I mean, it was published in 2001, and it does astound me that there's a lot of people out there that have not yet read that book or that are oblivious to its contents. But yeah, update your firmware, do some good reading. Let's see. Ziek High 1L sent $10. I love you guys, but recently turned my GF, soon fiance, to you guys. Can't watch tonight, so I hope I'm not repeating anything you've addressed earlier. The Bondi Beach is a psyop of many layers. True event. There was a lot of crazy stuff. He sent a second super chat for $10 saying a tragedy, or a true event tragedy, but Ostrovsky works for Israel as a propagandist, and the immediate leak of the AI photo of him getting the crisis actor makeup was a clear psyop to discredit anyone pointing out his links. Yeah, it's interesting. What's his name? Buckley Carlson, Tucker's brother, has been on Twitter going nuts on the Bondi Beach shooting.
Really?
I follow him, but I'd never really seen any of his stuff before. And he came out and was talking about this. And also, I'm pretty sure that the head of the Australian version of APAC was killed in that attack.
What?
Yeah. So it was very targeted, very, very targeted attack. I think there was even, at one point, the gunman was waving at the Australians, get out of the way, and was shooting at the menorah people.
Okay. The menorah.
Well, whatever. They were doing a menorah lighting ceremony. But anyway, don't do violence. That's not good. It's
that's the official statement.
We
of the
have to
Backlash.
hear all this bitching and kvetching online, and it's dude, this happened in Australia by a guy that was an ISIS sympathizer. And somehow we need more laws in the United States. Somehow we're the problem. Fuck you. Hussar sent $10. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Ziek High 1L sent another $10. Israel government, along with showing the Muslim hero and disregarding the white Australians that initially attempted to stop the attack and were murdered, Bibi condemning Australia for not doing, there's probably another one, Enough to stop anti-Semitism, blaming right-wing groups, etc. Islam is the broom of Israel, same as Candace being played. All distraction, I believe she was told by forcing French officers a hit was, another super chat, put on her, but that was a psyop to make everyone drawing attention to Zionist-controlled psyops as the meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the cockpit cockpit board and strings. I don't understand the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia reference.
Where Charlie is smoking a
Oh,
cigarette.
yeah. The Pepe Sylvia thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of suspicious stuff about this Bondi Beach shooting. Not good. It's just not good. I don't like to see dead people.
Because of the implication.
The implication.
Because of the implication.
True.
That show's great.
You guys don't know what I'm talking about.
I have no
I
idea.
do.
She does.
I know you do.
I
I'm
don't
talking about
watch
our
that much
audience.
TV.
Dennis is talking about like making a girl think that he's going to rape her on the boat.
By implication.
By implication, yeah.
Oh. Rape jokes.
Yeah.
Great. Wonderful.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is it's an American classic.
No, I love It's Always Sunny. I just haven't watched it in I watched that when I was in college.
It's too lowbrow for a high IQ gentleman of like yourself, Dave.
No, I don't know. Anyway, Altered Airs sent a big super chat. $100. Merry Christmas. Hope you guys have a white one. Love you guys. Dave, your love is at the bare minimum. JK, love you, bro.
Wait, your love is what?
He said, love you guys, but Dave, it's the bare minimum amount of love. Thank you for the big super
I don't think
chat.
people actually hate you. I think it's a meme now.
I think it's just a meme. Yeah, I think it's a meme. It's fine. My mustache sweeps peepees sent $10. Dave, when are you going to start an OnlyFans? Bro, that is such a funny username.
Hey, if the economy keeps going, man, we're all going to be.
Listen,
out there
I
with
might
our
be
hands.
selling feet pics. God knows.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my God, man.
I've got those weird hobbit feet. People pay big money for that, you know. Tyler Hagginson sent another $10. Congratulations on 100 episodes, nerds. Thank you so much. He's the guy I'm thinking of, right?
How am I supposed to know?
We know him, don't we? Like at parties? Like he does metal and he plays music and stuff?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, he's
I'm
got
pretty
long hair, right?
Yeah. And like a beard and Thank you
Tyler.
so much.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Based.
I didn't make that connection.
The world that you guys live in and the world that I live in.
They're very different.
No, the highlight of my life is going to cookouts and family birthday parties, or tonight I've got a heart out at 6:20. My daughter is playing an angel in the school play. So we get to go up to school to watch the nativity play. That'll be very good. But yeah, let's see. Okay, I read that. We're working on it. Glam Drink sent $10. Congratulations on 100 episodes and Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Book Track Groove sent $10. David and Cam, your curse words are fiddlesticks, bloody blimey, horse turd, Colossians 3:1-10. Yeah, I know. I got to work
he's
on
right.
it. I got to work on it.
I got a little carried away. It's true.
It's okay.
No.
Listen, here's the thing, right? Most kids that are on the internet are exposed not only to bad words, but also copious amounts of pornography.
Yeah.
So, at least in my mind, doing this show, I'm assuming that I am not exposing or scandalizing somebody with something they've never heard before. If I were at lunch with a nice lady from church, I would watch my language more. So I guess I just need to pretend like that. But at the same time, it's just come on. We live in a filthy sewer of a society.
Sometimes I need it for
emphasis.
emphasis.
I say the F-bomb.
Or catharsis.
It feels good.
It feels good,
It's a nice word to say. It's not a good word to say. Don't
All right,
say the
hustle,
F
buddy.
word.
We both have hard outs.
Sorry. Gee. All right. Get back to work. Big Mad Lad sent $10. Cameron was great on Millennial. Really enjoyed the interview.
Yes,
also,
he was.
Are we going to get Vinny Two Phones back for a show? We miss him. Yeah,
Maybe, yeah.
maybe. I think he will at some point in the future. He's he's so busy right now. He's busy doing the family thing.
That hand modeling career is really taking off for
bro.
I just did not expect that to really achieve escape velocity. But man,
His OnlyFans is doing really well too. He just sits there and shines his head.
Oh yeah, it's like ASMR.
Yeah,
he shaves it.
he looks like Peter Weller from RoboCop. Doesn't he?
Are you pulling it up? Oh yeah,
I always
absolutely.
Just like him. Oh
Absolutely. Hold
Looks
on.
like Peter
I
Weller
gotta
from
pull it
RoboCop.
Hold on.
You guys never noticed that?
No, he looks just like him.
This is amazing. Where did it?
It's Peter Weller.
Peter Weller, yeah.
Doesn't matter. Weller, W-E.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You never
absolutely.
noticed? Look at him. There's Vince.
Dude.
Bro. They're going to have to do a remake of RoboCop and cast Vince in this.
I'm pretty sure
in this
that's
role.
actually Vince.
Yeah, totally.
I think that's him.
Listen, I got a couple guys at Netflix I can call.
It was made in 1984, so that totally checks out.
He is old. He is unk.
That's right. By the way, RoboCop, 1984, great film. Lots of.
That movie's great.
I've never seen
Lots
it.
of substance
You've
in
never
that film.
seen
I've never seen
RoboCop?
I've
Have you
never
seen
seen
Total
Judge
Recall?
Dredd. I've seen Total Recall. Absolutely. The Fifth Element, right? I've seen that one.
All right. Lots of unrelated movies.
OCP is like the Tyrell Corporation from Blade Runner. There's a lot in RoboCop, Dave. You should
You've
watch
seen
it.
Blade Runner, right?
Oh yeah, and Blade Runner 2049. Hans Zimmer. I like the 2049 one. It was okay. And Hans Zimmer's score is, of course, amazing. He's so good with the synthesizers. Robert sent $25. So SCOTUS banned all religious scenes from the White House lawn, yet they just put up a giant golden calf on display. Haha, JK. It was an enormous menorah that required a crane. How? When naming the show, did you guys expect this much of a disaster? 07.
Yeah, totally.
I did not. Our first episode was literally titled Hopium.
Yeah, but,
Because
but it was
being
his camera tonight.
It was ironic, but it was also,
We were telling you guys that you were being retarded.
That's true.
But you and Vince, you guys wanted to believe.
We
you
wanted
know?
to
And-
believe. I want to believe.
Yeah.
I am Agent Mulder. She's Scully. And instead of UFOs, it's mass deportations. I want to believe.
A great movie. I'm sure you've seen it, Dave. Have you ever seen the film Primary Colors?
No.
Oh, you need to watch that one. That's all about John Travolta plays Bill Clinton.
Oh, okay.
It's like
Really?
late 90s. You got to watch it. Oh, Primary Colors, great film. Of
course.
But when you watch it, you are the guy that has TB, true believerism.
Mm.
You'll
And
see when you watch the
tuberculosis.
And tuberculosis. Well, actually, it's been good. I've been taking ivermectin, and I've been feeling better. Yeah, I mean, in 4 years, this is going to be Washington, D.C. This is going to it's in the cards, folks. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. The Jews banned creches. They banned nativity scenes. It was a Jewish guy that brought litigation to ban nativity scenes from public grounds. And here they are putting up menorahs, which is, of course, a symbol of Jewish supremacism, of Jewish conquest, of Jewish warriors. And that's why, like, when you look at the flag and the seal for the state of Israel, it's a menorah. Hello.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
almost as if they're
going
duplicitous.
around. Dude, when I was in Boise last year, there was at least 15 fucking menorahs in Boise. There I go again. There was
Hustle, Dave, hustle.
15 menorahs in Boise. And it's just like, between that and the gay pride flag, these are symbols of cultural conquest. Kelly,
Absolutely.
1488 sent $100. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
We watched that this week
Aw.
with the girls, and it is a wholesome movie where everyone's white. I love Joe Pesci, too.
Everyone's white. Dude, the scream, the spider scream. Yeah. Oh, it's so funny. Book Track Groove sent $10. David, be humble and seek the truth. Stick to the facts. Rebecca, did sample songs go through? Thoughts? Cam, cheers. Did you get a sample? Book Track
know.
Groove sent us a song.
I don't always...
It was too long. It's like 4 minutes long. We need like a 5-second Rebecca's rants, like a
that.
I agree.
like a jam jingle or something, you know. Robot Buster sent $15. Candace has a monkey tail, and he sent another $15. Candace has a monkey tail and Merry Christmas. Anyone that uses Xmas is a Jew. True. Natural Selection has sent $20. Don't let your hatred of Dave stop you from enjoying the Idaho Tallow soap. Loving the soap I got this summer. While we're busy shilling things, watch The Golem of Prague, Myth of Our Era on Odyssey.
Oh.
I will watch that. Absolutely.
I have seen not one, but I want to say multiple comments that have said something like, Dave is really growing on me. He might be more bass than Cam.
Oh, no.
Ah.
There you go.
Did I read you that licorice comment?
What licorice comment?
This was a few months ago, but it was like, Dave's like licorice. At first, I hate it, but the more I eat, the more I'm like, fine. Okay.
That's funny. Do you have any super chats over on
I
your
do.
channel?
Let's do Agent K. It's amusing that any nation, including the Soviets, can quell the conflict in a region of the world that has been in conflict since biblical times. Yeah, really. Lucian, no note. Thank you, sir. Deadpool Kid sent 2. So I'm going to go ahead and read these. A small news source. Migrant gangs found rounding up children near school. Mainstream media. We must stop anti-Semitism. Do you think if Israel wasn't even mentioned for one day, Bibi might have a heart attack? Yeah. Yes, I think he would. Let's see. Later days. Hey guys, great show tonight. Please don't stop swearing. I like it. Sometimes you need it in order to really hammer that point home. Merry Christmas, love, and things, Chris. We love you, Chris. Oh, Chris is my buddy. That guy's awesome.
Nice.
Shell Beach. I can spare 20 worthless Canadian bucks, Dave. I hope Christmas dinner doesn't have to come from the food bank this year. He just does it because he's cheap, not because he's poor.
We've got to figure out what we're doing for our Christmas dinner. We're going to do a ham, I guess. Maybe.
You're a ham family?
Yeah. Christian holidays, you got to eat pork.
Fine.
You got to, whenever you're challenged on that, Dave, you just need to use the line from Total Recall, another great movie. I got 5 kids to feed, man.
Not yet, but hopefully soon.
Please tell me you've seen Total Recall.
No, we just talked
I've
about
seen
it.
Total Recall.
That was the one.
That was the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, right?
3 boobs, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Based on a Philip K. Dick novel.
And then there was a remake of it with Tom Cruise, right?
I did not watch that because that's an
No.
abomination.
It was with the Irish actor.
Oh,
not
you're
Tom
right.
Cruise.
You're right. Yeah.
And it sucked, so don't watch it.
Colin Farrell?
Yes, Colin Farrell.
Agent K.
Farrell, that's right.
The Father is an authoritarian by modern standards. The only difference from the secular version is free grace for those who believe in Jesus Christ.
Based.
The Father is what? What is it?
Is an authoritarian by modern standards.
Yes.
True.
Well, that's what the whole authoritarian personality was about.
Absolutely. Jacob Winkelman.
We talked about that last week, and remember, there's a lot of psychobabble in that sort of psychologism. That's what it is.
Yes.
Fathers and mothers, there is a natural complementary relationship, and unfortunately, I think so much of how we see things today has been dominated by this Jewish, communist, Marxist narrative that superimposes a power structure on everything. Yeah, power is involved in a lot of things, but it's not the sum total of everything that's going on between a man and a woman or a nation and a citizen. I mean, that it's very rudimentary, infantile, I would say reductionist thinking. So try to let go of this authoritarian or fascist or whatever. These are terms that have been used to keep you in a box, right? They just don't carry the sophistication necessary to explain what are a lot of complicated things, right? In other words, we don't live in a binary, right? It's not left or right, right? It's not up or it's down. It's complicated. There are shades of gray. That's the way the world actually works. And as you can see, the Israelis, the Jews in this country, what have they tried to do? They've tried to force a binary. And now that's sort of blowing back on them. Don't think that way. Break that form.
Yeah. They call it light switch brain.
Yeah.
Think.
Yeah, exactly.
From the old James Alsop days. I think they coined that term. Him and Jazz Hands McFeels.
I miss him.
Those guys. I hope they're doing well.
Last one over here, Jacob Winkelman. Have you seen Casey the car guy Putsch running against Vivek in Ohio?
Yes.
Once I stop crying about me mom after that Idaho tallow ad, I will be door knocking for him.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I saw, what's his name again? The car guy? Casey the car guy?
Casey Putsch?
Yeah, I don't know who he is, but I saw that he announced against Vivek, so hands are tied over there. We're going to have to endorse the guy. Barefoot sent $10. We have half a cow. I was planning on prime rib or beef bourguignon. Ham? You uncultured swine.
I love her so much.
I think that was my wife.
Oh, I got the most Idaho message. I think
Beef
it might have been from your wife.
My wife has a great recipe for that, by the way. I can post it on Twitter if you want.
I think your wife told me this, but she's like, "Oh, do you want to get a half cow? The guy will give you a discount if you pay in Bitcoin or silver.
Yes. No. Well, and this is something I want to do. I've been planning Dave After Darks. I've been planning the content. I've been getting ready. I've also
Stop
been
rubbing
sick.
your hands.
But yeah, there is something to like. We know a guy that sells cows, and you can literally pay him in silver or Bitcoin, and
That's
he'll give
so
you
amazing.
a discount. And it's like, we don't shop for beef at the store. All that stuff has chemicals in it that make the frogs gay. You don't want to eat that. You want to eat grass-fed, homebrew coffee.
Yep.
Coffee. What the fuck? Grass-fed coffee. I need to log off. But speaking of coffee, we do have to thank our sponsors, Above Time Coffee Roasters. They have small batch coffee. It's not grass-fed, but it is hand-roasted. It's great stuff.
Buttery smooth.
It's like an instinct.
Buttery smooth.
What the fuck?
He just wakes up from a night terror. This is a grass-fed coffee. Oh my God.
Go to AboveTimeCoffee.com and you can use promo code Backlash10 and you can save 10% off your order of coffee. I've been digging the Nordic Blonde Roast. It's been very good. We've got a big bag of that we got to crack into over there. And they've got all kinds of other stuff. But they are a pro-white coffee company. They're absolutely fantastic. And don't forget, we are doing a giveaway on our website, backlash.net/giveaway. If you haven't already gone there, signed up. We are giving away a bag of coffee, so please do that. We've also got to thank Antelope Hill Publishing. They are fighting to keep history alive amidst this regime of anti-white censorship. And they are helping to equip new generations of dissidents with the information to fight the anti-white regime. Their very catalog includes newly updated and expanded third edition of Dr. Kevin MacDonald's Culture of Critique, the essential modern text on Jewish identity, Dr. Ricardo Duchesne's magnum opus, Greatness and Ruin, the definitive scholarly examination of European exceptionalism, as well as works by Kerry Bolton, Paul Kersey, and Josh Neal. Antelope Hill recently brought David Irving's book, The Nuremberg, The Last Battle, back into print, and have numerous translations of historical works from eras such as Fascist Italy, National Socialist Germany, and Civil War Spain, previously unavailable in English. There are also plenty of books on contemporary issues such as transgenderism and the opioid crisis and Christian nationalism, as well as history books, novels, and children's books. So whatever your interest is, you're bound to find books that you like at Antelope Hill, all professionally published with a sleek, modern cover art. Help us and help our people by checking out companies that share our values and fight for our cause. Visit antelopehillpublishing.com.
Thank you to all of our sponsors.
Positively mellifluent, Dave.
Absolutely.
I don't even know what that word means.
A big thanks
Symphonic.
to all of our audience for joining us. We will be back. We're not taking any breaks.
Nope, we're not taking any breaks.
See you on
No
Monday.
breaks on this
Father
train.
Maudsley. We're going to have a gingerbread show.
Is that already? That's this Monday is Father Maudsley?
I don't know. Is it?
I got to check my calendar. It does. Yeah, it appears that way. So get ready by buying a copy of his brand new book, The Metaphysics of Love. It's 3 parts. It's very good. And I believe he goes in actually in part 2 and kind of does a lot of deconstruction on the Zohar, Talmudism, Judaism, and how it is in conflict with reality.
Well, we're looking forward to it. We will see you on Monday. We are the Backlash.
3 words, Dave, before you go. Go watch RoboCop.
I know, right? Goodbye, all.
See ya.